Is there not enough RuneScape Weekly to fill you up each week? Well, RuneScape Weekly Elite is for you. With great, uncensored, uncut moments such as...
we also got Hamster joining us today.
Hamster.
Hamster.
I'm going right now.
I was really hoping that the bitrate wasn't high enough for you to notice, like that I had like a miniature stroke right there, and my top lip just did not cooperate with my muscles.
My least favorite part of D&D is having to join an FC and talk to people I don't know.
Literally?
You don't need friends? Love it.
Well, I don't want to be reliant on other people because I don't trust or like people that much. No.
Just stop being butthurt, really.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not, though. I'm not. I'm just saying. It would be, you would relate the fishing to maybe something that you would attach to an armor, as in like Constitution, because fishing provides health. You could do your crafting.
Like a squid on your heart or something.
That's just sucking the blood. It's just
in and out.
Yeah, it counts as like a secondary heart. There you go. Doubles your life points.
You heard it here.
You become a Time Lord.
First of all, you don't expect the game to last for 15 years. Right?
You really don't, right? It's like when you have that pet that's supposed to have like a 2 to 3 year lifespan, and it's like 9 years old, and you're like, what do I do with this? Monsters effectively are going to become much more formidable. I cannot wait to see Reddit. Can't wait to see the PVMers running out and crying that, that they can't camp forever for endless with their noxious scythes anymore.
So check it out at patreon.com/RuneScape.
I just hate me because I'm black.
Is there not enough RuneScape Weekly to fill you up each week? Well, RuneScape Weekly Elite is for you. With great, uncensored, uncut moments such as...
Cock. Like, oh my god, I'm like hoping so badly to not get sick before New Year's Eve, because I came into contact with someone on Christmas that has a double ear infection and strep throat. And they freaking hugged me and kissed me. So if I get sick, I'm gonna be furious.
Wasn't that your mom?
Yeah.
Your mom.
Cock. If you want to get $50 in rune coins for $9, and you're totally willing to just be like, I gave you $9, screw off, World Wildlife Fund.
That's what I did.
That's $9 more than they had before.
Like, they should be happy with my $9 donation. Cock.
What does cloaking mean?
Cloaking? Cloaking is probably a sex term. Cock.
Then where is the water coming from? Like, it just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, it's this torrent of water.
That's the running joke. Just cock.
So check it out at patreon.com/RuneScape.
Cock. Like, I love meat. I want all the meat in my mouth.
Is there not enough RuneScape Weekly to fill you up each week? Well, RuneScape Weekly Elite is for you. With great, uncensored, uncut moments such as...
You get a once a month amazing D&D, but it's once a month and it lasts 5 minutes.
Just like me.
2.5. Wow, 2.5. It opens up and there's a reward inside, and nobody knows what it is yet because that has.
You forgot to mention the slipping in of the sea cucumber into the giant oyster.
Oh yeah.
That sounds dirty.
I haven't decided yet whether or not I like this quality, originality, integrity, replayability thing. You have this sweet acronym going on right now. QOIR. It's the queer system. I want to be the one known as the inventor of the queer rating system.
I gotta tell you this quick story. I was in my classroom, and one of my students says, "Mr. Long, I don't want to do this. This is boring." And I said, "Well, I'd rather be home playing RuneScape, so we're even."
So check it out at patreon.com/RuneScape.
I'm not a virgin. Oh, yeah.
So again, there goes my RuneScape client again. I think I'm just going to leave it crashed. You RuneScape. So many features. And I mean, we have Togglescape versus freaking PotatoScape as far as I'm concerned when it comes to features here. But let's read old school RuneScape features. And they just like toss this like tablet onto the ground and it cracks. And then the next thing you know, you just can turn to banana mush inside. Imagine what that would feel like. Do you think it would hurt? Coming soon in Batch 2. Other things that you should have been able to do in Batch 1. Rants about EOC, incorrectly remembers it being released in 2013 when it was actually released in 2012, compliments the dev for their work in 2012, and thus compliments EOC. Paradox. Patreon.com/RuneScape.
Is there not enough RuneScape Weekly to fill you up each week? Well, RuneScape Weekly Elite is for you. With great, uncensored, uncut moments such as...
I'm an idiot. Maybe I'm the one who needs to be strapped down in a wheelchair somewhere. 9,057 keys. I mean, do I have to do it? Do I have to make the obligatory joke here? Do I need to? It's over 9,000, man! It's over 9,000. I gotta say it. I'm sorry. I'm moving on. I'm done. Okay. There were 18 computers connected to his network.
Yep, not surprised.
We put a thing on, and it went down to 1. Then he went around to all his neighbors, and, and we're like, "Did your internet stop working?" He's like, "Yeah, I don't know, I was just watching Netflix and stuff." He's like, "Yeah, you asshole, because it was mine." He's like, "I had someone secure it for me, you fucking piece of shit." And I'm like, "You know piracy's illegal, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." He puts a card on the table, and he slips it over to me. He's like, "You live down the street from me, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Here's my phone number. I'm gonna walk away now. You call me. You call me, yeah." I'm like, "All right, Carlos, we'll see."
Look, what just happened to DX? What if DX just got 9k rune coins one day?
I'm literally picturing DX at the computer. He opens up, Treasure Hunter to do his daily spins, because that hypocrite uses them. And he just looks at the number, and his head just starts vibrating and just all over the place.
So check it out at patreon.com/RuneScape.
I've fingered you out multiple times. If you need a good article written about RuneScape, hit me up. I won't even charge you like that gold farming website did to get their link in there.
Oh.
Submit. And Hands Now wrote this garbage. Fuck you, Hands Now. You ever even play RuneScape? What else have you written, you cock? The GTA arcade is... He just writes a bunch of clickbait shit. I appreciate...
I want non-potato graphics.
A post from Reddit by Esophagus John. Could your name be any grosser?
Any RPG ever.
Holy shit! Oh man, RuneScape's based on numbers! That's fucking crazy, the universe is based on numbers. Don't you love it when someone comes to your training spot, you've been there, and they're like, "Yo, hop worlds."
Oh my god.
You ever get that? Yeah, right? Congratulations, achievement unlocked, you're not a dick. It literally, achievement pops up on the screen, it just says dickless. Patreon.com/RuneScape. What's going on, everybody? Oh man, those are the first words I think I've uttered all day. It was my throat's like, ah. Oh my goodness. How's everybody doing? Hope you enjoyed those promo clips there. We're going to be getting into the pre-show. Let me go ahead and change that. I don't have the same intro I have when I use those clips. I can't be like, "Greetings and welcome to the Friday show." All that kind of goes out the window. Don't have that steam built up, but that's okay. I like doing the promos every now and again. They're fun. They remind me of moments that I forgot existed. So let's see here. We are in pre-show. Pre-show. Let's spread that out a bit so it's not you know what? And also, let's just turn down the speed of... There we go. That's a little bit better. I would love regular highlight, but I have a life, Mr. Banana Slice, so that would be impossible. If people want to submit clips, I would be happy to make compilations, but I'm not going to sit through and listen to my own videos for 3 hours at a time and pick out the best moments. I don't have time for that, unfortunately. But I'd like to do it. Y'all start paying me $1,000 a month and I'll do it, but sorry. I have to live. If I wasn't human, I'd be more than happy to take on that task, but food, electricity, water, stuff like that, need to be able to get those things in. Anyway, if anyone is interested, we will be doing a 2017 channel promo, because we haven't done a channel promo since 2015. And, God knows that we need to do a new one, so I'll be talking about that later once I figure out exactly what I want to do. Let me unmute Discord here. Rightio. There we go. Discord is now unmuted. We are in the pre-show, and the pre-show shouldn't be too long today, because we have a good chunk of backed notes here that I'm already put together a decent little list here, but we still are going to try to get a little bit more on here. Anyway, how you doing, DX?
I'm doing pretty good, apart from sweltering in this bloody heat.
Oh, I can imagine. Are you still in your heat wave? Is that still happening?
Yes, this was day 1 of a 3-day heat wave.
Oh, man.
I think we're expecting temperatures of, what was it? Today, in your temperature worth, it was 112. Tomorrow's going to be about 114, and then it goes back to 112.
Wow. It is 0 here today.
Oh,
So,
damn. You want to trade places?
Yes. Yes, I do. It is so cold outside. Oh, it's so bright outside. I just looked outside because the whole everything's white. So the sun's just reflecting off of everything. What about that thing where you can record the last minute of gameplay? Can't you adapt that to a podcast? Zenel, where are you? I personally have no idea. That'd be really cool if there was a button I could press and it would just grab the last 15 seconds and save it. That would be super cool. I actually have no idea how that would even work. That would be a really cool feature of like XSplit though. If XSplit could like do that, like make clips out of itself. The only thing I can think of is like the Rockstar editor that does something similar to that.
That's way more advanced than XSplit, that's for damn sure.
XSplit's getting on my nerves. Unfortunately, speaking of XSplit, my XSplit license literally runs out tomorrow. So if anyone wants to tip us during today's show, we are looking for tips to get a new year of XSplit, which would be nice. So if you're interested in doing that, tip.runeweek.com, you can help us out. We have the donation goal set up there and everything, so we can see the money going towards that, yada, yada, yada. And once we hit the cap, cool, I'll buy the yearly license. But pretty much next show and every show after that will not be in 1080p. And basically no more streams will be in 1080p until we get that license back. So we'll be dropping down to 720. And that includes live game streams as well as podcast streams. Because I can just not be arsed to figure out OBS. If anyone's an OBS wizard out there, and I mean like serious wizard, like you understand how to use all the plugins and set up all the scenes and bitrate, all that nonsense, contact me. We can talk. Because I'd like to get away from XSplit, but it is a daunting task. Anyway. How you been, DX? What are you up to?
Me, I'm just like, I got to level 90 invention now, so...
Yeah, you mentioned that last show.
Nah, did I?
Yeah.
Was that, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Time flies, time flies, time flies.
Indeed. Sorry, I'm just reading through my notes here. I'm feeling like I'm missing like a major topic here. There was no like Q&A this week. There was Kelpie's little like Facebook nonsense. So we have that.
Yeah, Kelpie's top 10.
Yeah,
that was Kelpie's Ninja top 10.
And the game update this week was what? I can't remember.
I can't remember. I just gotta think of the top of my head.
Was there a game update this week? I don't honestly.
I'm pretty sure there
just
was.
Brought in
invention.
the invention stuff. The
oh yes,
the hammer and the thing. Yeah.
And there's been no patch notes, right?
Yeah,
no,
there's
I
patch
didn't
notes,
do a
but Pern
patch
didn't
note.
do them.
There is no
patch
patch
notes.
I have not. Haven't been the greatest.
I mean actual patch notes. Like I can't find actual patch notes anywhere. Sorry to hear that though, Pern. But like I went to the RuneScape Wiki page. They don't have any patch notes for February. I'm trying to go through the website. I can't find any patch notes for February. I'm having a hard time finding patch notes. Do they exist anymore?
This works.
Oh wow, thank you, DX. I appreciate that very much.
It
Hold on.
worked.
I want to read that note real quick. I saw something about Shawnee in there. Happy birthday, Shawnee, or I mean Mage. Thank you very much, DX. I appreciate that. That means we're like already halfway to our XSplit goal, pretty much, right there.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. And in worst case scenario, if the license runs out, that's basically enough to buy a 3-month license right there. So we'll get at least something going. Now that we have that amount. So after the show, I'll take care of that. But I'd rather buy a year because it's like literally half the price than buying 2 or like a bunch of 3-month licenses. So maybe we can get that year. If not, though, I'm not going to be. Beggars cannot be choosers, they tell me.
Hey, Mage, did I ever tell you how I ended up getting XSplit to start with?
No, I don't think you did.
When I got my high def video capture card, it came with this little what do you call it? a license, a little like a 3-month license.
For Exploit.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up with it, and I'm still with it today.
That's pretty cool. I can't really remember how I started using XSplit either. I'm sure it was on somebody's recommendation. God dang it, somebody sent me this post. I screen capped it and then I didn't save it, and I knew it was going to get removed. This is my own fault. This is completely my own fault. I'm so sorry. Who sent me this post?
I did post the recent patch notes in #live on Discord if you hadn't seen it already.
Cool. Thank you.
And I put it in the show note topics.
Thank you.
Da-da-da-da.
Damn it! Why didn't I I'm so angry at myself for not screenshotting that. Oh, well. That's a shame. I'm really getting sick of these Reddit mods deleting quality shit posts. Really
quality shit posts.
Not fair. You know, I had all the opportunity to grab this post from IMNs, and I didn't because I'm an idiot. So I apologize for that. I read through it thinking, yes, this is great for the Friday show, and then I took a snipping of it and then didn't save the snipping because I'm stupid.
In the meantime, Mod Matt here has released an FAQ of Slayer 120, which is in future game updates, surprisingly enough, on the RuneScape forums.
Okay. You want to grab that? Not the FAQ we did last show. Were you just cognitively missing last show?
No, I wasn't missing you. You were talking with Dave, wasn't it? You were talking with Dave last week. It was just such, it was such an amazing thing. There's no way I could get a word in because you guys were just going at it, and it wasn't like malice or nothing like that. It was just a good debate.
Let me see here. I don't know. You don't remember half the stuff from last show, so I'm pretty sure we talked about 120, the FAQ, on last show too. But,
really? Okay.
If you link it to me, I'll let you know for sure.
I just linked it in #live.
Okay, let me pop it open real quick, and I'll This I'm pretty sure is different than what we did on the last show.
Yeah, especially since it was posted on the 9th of February.
Yep, that will also be a huge indicator. Yep. Okay, this is definitely different. They did a little FAQ in a second post on this after they did the 120 Slayer update. They did like a 5-question FAQ, but this is way more in depth. It looks like he went and asked different J mods. So we got Mod Osborne, Mod Joe, Mod Days. So yeah, this is definitely new content. That's awesome. So we'll put that in there. We'll put that near the top, to be honest with you. Let's see here. Put that before the ninjas, and that's probably all we're gonna get out of the show. No
thanks for reminding me that I forgot all about that there, Sam. My amnesia is kicking in again. Dear.
Gotcha. Good stuff, Sam.
Everyone, it's time to pay out on me already, and we're only in pre-show. Imagine how it's going to go when the show begins.
That's a scary thought. All right, let's see. So these are our patch notes for the 6th.
Hey, you know what we should do? We should have Pern read out the patch notes as if he was doing like his recording.
That's almost kind of mean.
I can do that.
Do you say mean or meme?
Everything's a meme. Someone PM'd me. No names will be named, and requested that we have a custom or a special chat in our Discord that is specifically for meme posting, so we can post top quality memes in their.
Why don't we just post it where it always is in general?
I mean, that actually made me think about that specifically. It's like, are memes becoming a problem?
Nah.
Because if they are, then we could do that. I don't want to encourage memes to that extent. I don't want to give them a place. How you doing, Deathstar? Welcome. All right, so
I think I got the perfect meme if I can find it in here. Yes, here we go.
Working. Okay, I think the show's pretty decent. We can get the show. You know what? We don't have any ending posts. That's our main problem here. Let me see if I can find a couple on deck to kind of just close the show out with. We got a good chunk of reserve posts. Keep the old necks. I haven't looked at this one yet. Was the old necks going anywhere? I think the old necks was going anywhere. Yeah.
I think I don't know if they were talking about the
I think it's
modeling.
the-
Oh no, I think they might have been talking about the modeling.
I don't know.
The old modeling's not going anywhere, I don't believe.
We'll find.
No.
Well, I don't believe it is.
There was
either.
talk. No, there was someone was saying that they were going to update it to the what Angel of Death was, but I think they kybered that pretty quickly and said no, it's not.
They talked about that on the month ahead video as well, I believe.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a shame my flipside videos are too non-safe for work for this show.
Yeah, you got to catch them on the elite shows, which we are one behind
Yeah.
on. I am aware of that. I'm trying to find an off co-host who will record a show for me off our normal hours so we can get that done. Otherwise, it's going to end up being I've been putting it off so it doesn't end up being a solo show. But if it goes any later than when we need to record the next elite show, then it's going to be a solo show. It's going to be like, yeah, a solo show basically, which some people are into, but I think you know the discussion can be rich, can be more rich when there are more people. So we're gonna do an open discussion on the new Treasure Hunter promo. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It's pretty much what I expected it to be, but I can tell you what I expected it to be, I suppose. So we'll do that pretty much after we'll go through the patch notes. We'll go through some stuff here, and then we'll before we go to the ninjas, we'll do an open discussion. Treasure Hunter Valentine's Day. Okay, because remember, they basically told us that half of this is going to be Treasure Hunter related, and it doesn't make it okay, but I was basically, they gave me time to lube up and prep for it. Right.
Lube up.
Right, I'm gonna open up.
Lubed up.
Topics are as is, so you can feel free to begin opening them now. I'm just making a ticker for the live stream, and then get this show on the road. Oops. NXT working on a Mac. Now that we need a special document for how to get NXT to work on a Mac. Slayer to 120 frequently questions. Top 10.
Slayer to work on a Mac, just NXT to work on a Mac, just buy a PC.
Just install Windows on your Mac. There you go, problem solved. Silly, but fortunately,
I think this will work.
Well, I mean,
I wonder what would happen.
Who keeps moving those?
I do wonder what would happen though if like Mac began like if Windows. I don't know if this is a Windows thing or a Mac thing, but if they allowed DirectX support on a Mac, I wonder what that would do for the gaming arena. Because that's the big thing is there's no DirectX on a Mac. It's all OpenGL or I guess now there's Vulkan and stuff like that. But that's still very new fledgling technology. Obviously, most games run off of DirectX, which isn't supported on the Mac. From my understanding, at least, because it's a Microsoft product. And I thought that was always the big issue. So I want to know what would happen if they could just get DirectX. Even though I think DirectX is going to be a lot less of a contender coming up with these new technologies like Pascal and Vulkan and stuff like that. We'll see, though. Anyway.
Yes. Speaking of Memescape, I just actually put one in there in live, so I hope you enjoy it.
Awesome. So, I think we're pretty much ready to get the show going here. Again, you could tip us at tip.runeweek.com if you'd like. And the show notes I'm going to transfer over to YouTube right now so you can follow along with us. And I think then that's pretty much all I have to say. Just bear with me here. I'm unfortunately having to travel away from whatchamacallit. Firefox. It no longer works for like the YouTube live panels. It just crashes constantly. It's basically a pile of junk. So I'm having to get used to switching between profiles and Chrome, which is very frustrating. So bear with me. Going over to live. Yeah, it's like I like having different browsers for different profiles, but it's very frustrating. There we go. Does that work okay? Almost okay. Now we should be okay.
I hope you can't hear my fan going in the background because it's really going because it's really hot here.
It's understandable. It's mildly audible. It's okay. You'll live.
I can turn it down if you wish.
It's okay. It's not that noticeable, and I don't want you to like have a heat stroke or anything.
You know, I've had a heat stroke once in my life. Only
Really?
once. Yeah.
I don't think
There's been a few of them happening up there.
Oof. What happens? I've never had a heat stroke. I can. What happens to your body? You end up in the hospital?
It just shuts down, man. It just shuts down.
That's scary.
It was like 43 people rushed to hospital today there, wasn't there?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And we did have rolling blackouts in the state as well. So I'm very thankful that this area did not get blacked out when it reached 45 degrees here.
You could have been like Adelaide and just wipe out the whole state for a couple of days.
Oh, how funny was the Australian map when that happened?
No.
I was looking at, excuse me, I was looking at a heat map of Australia that was posted on Facebook the other day of the heat wave. And I've never seen a heat wave where they had to use the color purple above red because things were like hotter than red. I've never seen like I would say like 50 to 66% of Australia was like purple as far as the heat. Like that's
it wasn't good.
Crazy.
It was terrible.
But Adelaide, one of the states here, has decided, you know, they're going renewable energy, shut down all the coals, and they've been buying Victorian power for ages. And our Labor government's decided, hey, we're going to shut down all our coal provider power as well, and we're going renewable energy. But of course, you know, they haven't got the infrastructure in place yet. So Adelaide, every time it gets too hot or too cold, they just lose all their power. And because Victoria's not getting any excess power anymore, they've got none to buy off us. So they just lose power for 2 or 3 days at a time.
Oh, that sucks.
It's just crazy. In this day and age, that should never, ever happen. But the Greens, their renewable energy plan, you know, let's force everyone to go renewable energy, even though we don't have it in place yet.
Yeah, I mean, that's the major problem. I mean, like, you can't flip the switch before the electricity has been put in the wall.
Yeah.
It's even worse, right? When you got like a massive heat wave in Adelaide, South Australia, and there's no wind, and they got wind farms, and there's no wind. That's the thing. Yeah, they've got all these wind farms, and there's no wind during a bloody heat wave.
Yeah, that's a problem. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. That's for sure.
It generates 2% of the power and leaving 98%, which is most of South Australia, to be screwed.
Anyway, back to RuneScape.
Yeah, back to RuneScape. Yeah.
Show notes are pretty much in place. We got the PSAs, we got everything going. All my topics are open, so I think we're gonna go ahead. I just got tweeted at by Mod Timbo, but I was complaining about the energy, basically because I saw RSB&B complaining about it. So I was like, I'm gonna jump on this bandwagon, and I started complaining about it. So now Mod Timbo
you do realize every time you complain to Mod Timbo, he removes a tree from RuneScape.
You know what? If that's what it takes to get divination back. Well, you know, that's okay. I'll just transmute rocks into trees with all my extra divination energy I got. Anyway, let's begin the show, shall we?
I better message you the times, whatever they are.
I don't even know anymore because I don't keep a live dashboard handy because of freaking Firefox doesn't function anymore. So hang on. I guess I should just have a YouTube live dashboard open at all freaking times. With the,
YouTube has a dashboard.
It does.
I'm assuming that that's only visible when you're streaming, right?
I mean, it's visible when you're not streaming. It just says, "Hey, you're not streaming."
Okay, well, like I said, in my part of Australia, I don't have the bandwidth to actually do a live stream. So
okay. So we've been streaming for listen. LastPass, no, go away. We've been streaming for 28 minutes, so just put 30 minutes because it's gonna take me a minute. So 30 minutes was good. And again, your Magebucks code for today is DFGT. It's DFGT. We also have a new website. If you've been watching those chill streams, I actually used the snowstorm yesterday to get it online. So you can now, I don't know why you'd want to because it doesn't have anything there yet. We're slowly working on it, but if you want to get the kind of the idea about it, you can go to runescape.life. Thanks to our amazing LIF, yes, L as in like F as in foot, life, not live. I wish we had runescape.live. That would be amazing. But life as in like I am alive, I am alive. This is my life. Yes. RuneScape.life. And I want to turn it into like a RuneScape website, and there's a whole post on there about what I'd like it to be, and yada yada yada. Check it out if you're interested. But like I said, there's nothing there yet. But if you're interested in being a pioneer on it, or starting it up and producing content for it with us, check it out and let me know. Anyway, that's just a little thing I'm going to leave in the pre-show for people who are dedicated enough to actually listen to the pre-show. I'm probably not going to announce RuneScape.life today on the actual main podcast, because I don't think it's got no content. Why bother announcing it? It's just kind of a call to arms for people who want curated RuneScape content. Are you sick of going to Reddit and only seeing memes? Do you want to talk about RuneScape seriously? Without, some poster just coming in and be like, y'all a bunch of losers. I mean, that actually still kind of happens here. But it can't happen if we have a curated community where only deep thoughts are allowed. Anyway, it sounds great. In my mind, it probably will fail miserably. But hey, RuneScape.life is a pretty cool domain, and I couldn't not purchase it. RS Weekend and RSBNB. So what is this? Is this his response here? I mean, of course they do, and that is why I monitor these things. The price we did was surely panic. I agree with the fact that it was surely panic. Reflex from players and merchants rather than anything solid in the supplier demand. That is why it recovered quickly. I do agree with that, but I do also agree with the statement that I said that it adds up. Like, just stop doing it. You don't have to worry about it.
We've got to see the long-term effect. Yes, it's all panic now, but let's have a look at it in 6 months or 12 months time and see what it does. How much it is actually bringing in. What pissed me off about it is we just did a survey and they said themselves they want to start making skilling profitable and such. So what's the first thing that they do when they release a new box? Let's screw up the one skilling thing that is actually making money on a regular basis for people and just drop all the high level divination. That just made no sense to me.
Yeah, I don't like it either. And this is, if you keep doing it, all right, doing it once or twice, it hasn't hurt yet. But if you keep doing it with all future bosses, then it is going to have an effect eventually. And I don't think these people are dumb and don't realize that. I just think that they're pandering to the squeaky wheel is all.
Exactly.
And I have to become my own squeaky wheel because it seems like nobody else wants to advocate for skilling. And apparently RSB&B was, so that's pretty cool. I'm glad to hear that. But anyway, we can talk about that when the show gets underway, because I do have an open discussion set at some point here. Anyway, speaking of,
I just posted a fun video there from Weird Adam regarding the loved up emote and a beer. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, it's very funny. It's in #live.
Okay. I'm just getting my tabs set up.
Well done, Weird Adam.
One tab in here that doesn't have a link, so I had to put it in there manually. Very nice. Very nice, Weird Adam. Anyway, I think we're ready to pretty much get the show started. Again, I do have like an 11:30 hard stop, so we want to start as soon as possible, I assume. All right, so show notes should be transferred over. Everything looks good. We're probably past 30 minutes, but that's okay. We can begin if I just pull the music up and do my thing and make sure, again, that the music isn't at 90% like it was last time. Podcast listeners, I saved your ears, but I can't save live listeners or YouTube listeners, really, because editing videos on YouTube is not an easy thing to do. Anyway, let us begin in 3, 2, 1. You're listening to RuneScape Weekly for 2/10/2017. I'm your host, Magebit, with over 15 years of RuneScape experience. Joining me today is Dxthelb and Pyrnassius, and on today's show, patch notes, how to use NXT on Mac as intended, Slayer 120 frequently asked questions, open discussion, Treasure Hunter Valentine's Day, Ninja Top 10 results, smithing, mastering items updated from Mod Jack, survey on PvP, results of PvP survey, that was quick, hashtag Timbo's projects, Mod Ryan teaser, health bar improvements repost, and keep the old necks. Thank you for tuning into this edition of RuneScape Weekly, and enjoy the show. Welcome back for your Friday edition of RuneScape Weekly. Magebit here. Got a good show for you lined up today. I got DX joining me as well. How you doing, DX?
Melting. I am melting. I hate this damn weather over here in Australia right now. It is shocking.
I can imagine. 114, 115 sounds a little. I think the hottest it got last summer for myself here was maybe about like 100. So that's insanity. I don't even want to. I don't want to picture.
Oh, that's the case, man. We ought to swap places.
We also got Pyrnassius joining us today. How you doing, Pern?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Not quite as hot as DX is up there, but still pretty warm down here. But yeah, it's life is life, I guess.
Indeed, life is definitely life.
That's what it's like.
In fact, you can go to runescape.life. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. Said I wasn't going to mention it in the main show. Anyway, we have a show lined up for you indeed. We can start off with some PSAs if we'd like. DX, if you'd like to jump into those, feel free to.
Okay, the minigame spotlight is on Stealing Creation. The circus is currently located in the lumberyard. And for those people who are looking for Angel of Death teams, there's a French tat there, AoD Teams. That was posted by Mod Neena. And the free February items from Solomon's General Store are Zamorak Wings and Samurai Cooking Animation. I nearly said Zamorak Wind for some reason. I don't know why. Imagine if we had gas and it'd be like that. Oh.
The Zamorak Break Wind emote. You just take like a Zamorak brew, put it up to your butt, and just release, and it's just a giant like freaking
light a match.
Reload. It's a new level 50 range weapon. It's only level 50, but it gets an area of effect similar to Dragon's Breath, so you know. And since Dragon Breath knocks off prayers, I would assume that it probably does something to your sinuses. Knocks out your ability to smell very good for the next few days. Anyway,
I think you'll need like a nose peg or something.
Yeah, right. You just put on your Mighty Slayer helm. You'll be all right. Anyway, thank you for the PSA. It's good stuff. Our first topic of the show is not necessarily a topic, but a rundown here. We have the patch notes for the 6th of February. Pern, did you want to read these in true fashion, or do you want to change them off? It's up to you.
No, I'll read them out if everyone wants to, and then we can sort of have a discussion on anything, or we can stop and just have a discussion on the ones we want to go through. So these were posted by Mod Shawnee. First up, the graphical. They've updated the models of the Cyclops and the Cyclosis in the Warriors Guild, added a new chat head to Yumi's Port minigame, with Van Strom hanging in the air during the Blood Bomb attack, and the Majorat in Fate of the Gods have been graphically updated. Skills, D&Ds, and minigames. Araxi, Queen Black Dragon, Beastmaster Durzag, Yakamaru, and Rush of Blood loot chests now show their total value. The plank used in the Yakamaru raid encounter should now appear on top of the other items by default when dropped. God tokens from World Event 2 will now count as the appropriate God faction when in the God Wars dungeon. The baked potato now correctly shows as free-to-play on the cooking skill guide, and attempting to get a bounty from Feng exactly 1 year from the date of last bounty completed now works and assigns bounties correctly.
A weird one.
It was a weird one. Quest challenges and achievements. Sensei Hakasi on Twilight will now give you a full list of your remaining requirements to complete the arc and achieve the Salty title. Players can now set specific colors for their memorial to Gothic Splints, provided the colors have been unlocked, and nightmare creatures are now less likely to want to run away from you. That is a good one, because I had an assignment down there with those nightmare creatures. You'd hit one, and then it just sort of keep going the other way, which was a little frustrating.
Yeah.
Onto others. The Sun Spear can now be activated as a cosmetic override from the wardrobe interface for each combat style. Fixed an issue where Aerats were only spawning as melee variants on Mazcab. Buy options of 25 and 50 have been added to the Waco reward shop for Arc Teletabs, Contacts, and the Banky Crablet. The teleport to Port Sarim on the Arc Journal no longer uses a teletab animation since it doesn't consume a teletab. Breaking teletab animations is also no longer used for short-range teleports where the item remains intact. The Salty title is now a suffix on PT-BR worlds, and I don't know what they are, but anyway.
I have no idea. I was thinking maybe it was like a language, different language worlds, perhaps. Not
yeah,
sure.
maybe. I was just trying to think what PT and VR stood for.
BR could be Brazil, but I don't know what PT could be.
Yeah.
What about Puerto Rican?
Could be. It'd be oddly specific.
The ARC Journal's progress will now represent your current progress towards completion slightly more accurately. Lookout Eka High on Waco previously had nothing to say about the area after completing Final Destination. This has been fixed. Bosun Higgs dialogue before and after the malevolent entity's demise was reversed. This has been fixed. The contract board behind Sajobo in Waco previously skipped contracts that could only be completed on permanent islands. This has been adapted to also block contracts for low-tier resources found on orchid islands such as non-golden bamboo, sea salt, berries, and non-ornate turtles. You can no longer overwrite a turtle trap with another turtle trap if it was placed on a tile containing a hunter area icon. The message when attempting to place a turtle trap on a trapped tile has been made clearer. The population of Wales Moor has been increased. Players in differing time zones to RuneScape will no longer see the incorrect dates on their promo info.
Good.
Players dying to non-PvP combat within the wilderness will no longer have their augmented items instantly deleted. That would have been...
That's a good one. That's good... I feel bad for the bastard who had to submit that bug report.
That's not good, yes. Having your special attack leached whilst at 100% will now begin to recharge it again. The target info panel in PvP will no longer display the amount of stacks the Revenge ability has on every icon. The quick chat message for next Angel of Death kill count now displays current prestige properly. Added next Angel of Death boss kills quick chat into the correct section. Players spectating from the balcony of a next AoD kill they died in are no longer eligible to roll for loot.
Oh, man.
That would have been awesome to get that in the start.
Yeah.
Die and you still get your loot.
Yeah, imagine if you got the big one right there and from something like that. That would suck, man. You'd be raging something bad.
Did they roll back?
You'd be happy.
Yeah,
but you'd be happy, but everyone else wouldn't be.
How did that even happen? Is that like if you have someone spectating and then you have less than 5 people in the arena, so it just gives the loot to that person spectating? Yep. That's great. Good quality checks in place there.
Fixed an issue with the meteorites stating the wrong amount of XP given. The virus message.
Real quick, Harley says you couldn't pick up the loot; you just got the drop. So yeah, that's even worse because now it's just you have to watch it just
disappear.
I assume eventually everyone can see it. I don't know. I've never been sure about how that works. I don't know if items over a certain value never show up or something, but I guess you either have to watch it disappear or wait until someone can pick it up. Anyway, continue on.
But hang on, before we do that, I just did confirm it. PT is Portuguese, so I was right.
Okay. How were you right? You said Puerto Rican.
Oh, I could be right under 2 things.
What does that even mean? Anyway. That's not an answer. No, just go ahead. Go ahead,
the virus message has been changed to a chat message during next Angel of Death encounter to prevent missing the insta-kill message. Players trapped in an icicle during next Angel of Death encounter can no longer deal damage. Increase the icicle's armor and bleed count for the lower thresholds during next Angel of Death encounters. Increase the damage of the smoke blades in the same. Increase the armor blood reavers in next. Added a broadcast for the intricate chests from next. Deathmatch, and they're all Angel of Death ones, obviously. Deathmatch reward armor can now be reclaimed from death or the gravestone upon death.
I find that funny. Deathmatch reward armor can be reclaimed since no one uses deathmatch anymore.
It's sad. We actually have some topics talking about that coming up later. Is what to do with deathmatch now that nobody uses.
Yeah. I know. I mean, and that's it. I mean, they spent so much time doing it. Let's just now bury it. Fill it in. Bury it.
It's like when you
put the cross on it.
It's like when you buy a small pet from the pet store and you get super attached to it the first week and then it dies the second week and then you're like, rip Fluffy 2017 to 2017. Go ahead, you can continue on after that lovely note.
Augmented variants of Decimation, Annihilation, and Obliteration will now clear their special attack effects when switching weapons. It is no longer possible to store 2 of the same rune type in a rune pouch. And on to ninja fixes. Players may now drink a cup of tea to remove the effects of the aggression potion. Nothing like a calming cup of tea, and that is a good one for those people.
Oh yes.
Yeah, you want to head back and do some banking, and you have to really avoid priftiness for that. You can
Pern, have you ever had the aggression potion, right, and then walk through priftiness?
No, you've told us
you
that many
get
times.
obliterated by those elves, man. I've done it.
Yeah,
man.
there's a
It's
meme in there.
fantastic.
There's totally a meme in there somewhere where you're just like wearing the wrong colors, walking through the wrong neighborhood.
Yeah, put on the red and just walk through the green, and get attacked. We've updated the tea flask animation. Wildy worms are significantly more likely to spawn. Uncharged junk refiners now stack. Completing a Reaper task now allows a player to say they have no task via quick chat. The ninjas have waved their wands and added an ascend to top floor and descend to bottom floor options to the wizard's tower.
That's a great ninja update. I love that one. Well done.
Just go straight to the top of the bottom.
We're going up.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, the Wizard's Tower used to be akin to some asshole who pressed every freaking button in the elevator. You gotta stop at each floor.
I'm one of those people, actually. So
that doesn't.
That
doesn't surprise me.
That's the same thing. Yeah. Prevented players from protecting demonic skulls in the wilderness by noting them with magic notepaper.
What?
Wow.
That's
that is
sneaky.
Yeah. That I think should be, that's a 3-day ban for that. I think
that's really sneaky. I didn't even. Oh wow! Wish I thought
that's
of that.
nasty.
Who thinks to do that type of stuff though? Really.
Imagine what happens if you tried to feed someone in the wildy. Imagine what happens if you tried to feed someone in the wildy and then get them skulled by doing it that way.
The Port Sarim fishing shop has also had a permanent doorstop added by the ninjas again. So obviously it had one and
kicked it out the first.
Kicked it out.
They got kicked out during the invasion.
Yeah. Imagine that. Yeah. The Catherby Range house has had a permanent doorstop added by the ninjas again. The Fremeniks have moved some fencing on Waterbirth Island to allow quicker access to the Waterbirth dungeon. Do you forget about adding compost before planting stuff? Me too. It sucks. Now you can place compost in the ground just after planting something. That is excellent.
Justice.
Because I quite often you'll sit there and you'll click too fast and you go to compost your spot, and then you plant the seed and then you realize the compost didn't take. Well, now you can do it after it. So that is a fantastic update. That one.
I am super. I at least once or twice a week do that. I am very happy. Very happy to hear about that one.
Worlds are now saved at the top of your Hop Worlds interface in-game and increase the chance of receiving Raptor key pieces from tasks and Raptor armor from the chest.
Never have I
I
once
thought
done
they
the
stopped.
Raptor.
I thought they stopped doing that last year after they did the 4-week Raptor thing.
That was...
No, you can still get the...
You can still unlock the stuff, but I think there was something during, and I honestly can't remember because it was so long ago and those Slayer monsters were so shitty. I think there was something that you got during that period, but I think you can still earn it in game. It's just a lot slower now.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Right. I get you.
I could be wrong.
And there were a couple of hot fixes on the 30th. Next, Angel of Death no longer attempts to target players that are out of reach viewing on the balcony. Also on the 30th, players will now receive an appropriate message when attempting to buy event currency and extenders after the event has ended. Additionally, the Memorial to Gothic signs have returned, and you are now able to progress the Wanted quest correctly again after killing a Black Knight. And that is the patch notes for the 6th of the February.
Very nice. Very nice. Moving along. This next post here is from Mod Dolan. It's a Mac and NXT PSA. He says, how to get 2.2.3 working as intended.
Buy a PC. Sorry.
Says, hey all, as you're probably aware, recently with the launch of NXT 2.2.3, being able to launch multiple clients on Mac was one of the main features. This update was launched with an unforeseeable issue with the Runescape.app. Mac does something weird with their applications. Instead of launching a new app, it focuses the current open app. How we launch the game when testing is via the RS launch URL. This unfortunately bypasses the start application code, which currently not working as smoothly as we anticipated. The solution is to launch RuneScape via the Play Now button on the RuneScape website. This will not only allow you to launch multiple clients, but will also launch the client so much quicker. So again, if you're having trouble on a Mac, that's how you could do that. Up to sneeze. Excuse me, I just didn't mean to yell. I'm gonna sneeze. That was like half sneeze. There, I apologize. But yeah. So TLDR is basically, if you were on a Mac and you can't run 2.2.3 in multiple instances, it's because their code sucks, is basically what they're saying. So you have to use the website, is the workaround, which, you know, at least there's a valid workaround, but also annoying if you're on a Mac. So there you go, there's that. And next up is probably one of the more important posts of the day, and that's going to be the 120 Slayer Frequently Asked Questions by Mod He. So it looks like he's gone around and talked to multiple mods, so this should be interesting. Whether you like it or hate it, it's coming, so let's talk about it. It says here, we've all been reading all your feedback on the devlogs and blobs and diaries, and we've picked up some of the most frequently asked questions to give you direct answers to them. So it says, what are you doing? Why are you doing Slayer 120 and not fixing other skills or completing Invention? I think that's a valid question. I'm curious to see how they say that. So it says here, Mon Osborne is they've stuck out to answer this one, and it says Slayer is extremely popular. And honestly, he wrote 2 more paragraphs, but he could have stopped right there because that's, I think, hey Zenel, by the way, but I think that's, in a nutshell, Slayer is super popular. And that's probably the main reason why they're doing it, is to please and pander to the majority, which is fine to do every now and again, I suppose. It is one of our most played skills, and Slayer to 120 was extremely high in the recent player survey. Yeah, and everyone who took that survey and selected that was also extremely high. To me, that popularity is because Pern, you cannot say you weren't extremely high. You've been on painkillers for the past year.
Okay, that's okay.
That's a valid point.
Taken. That is a valid point. I'll pay that one.
To me,
that was actually very quick. I do pay that one. That was good.
I should be a lawyer, they tell me. To me, that popularity is because it bridges non-combat and combat players, and it feels very naturally rewarding. You could point to other skills and say that we should fix them first, or that we should fill out incomplete skills. I agree, and we're doing a lot of this this year in the form of the mining and smithing rework and content tied to unannounced expansions. But we cannot solely focus on fixes, because fixes are not, quote, things to do. There are players who demand new challenges, new stories, and new content, and without them, the game loses interest. A lack of new content sees a drop in play. While we will have fixed the game by concentrating solely on reworks, the game will have become unhealthier as a result. And Slayer to 120 is a chance to fix something. It is an opportunity to add a new challenge to a skill that was beginning to become too easy for many. In the future, we will stop focusing so intently on Slayer, but for now, it's a topic that a lot of players enjoy. And you know what? I think that's completely valid. You know, I take the piss out of 120 Slayer quite often because I'd rather see a lot of other skills go to 120 first. But I understand that 120 is a fairly popular skill. As you were saying, Pern, I believe it's your favorite skill, if I'm not mistaken. Don't let me put words in your mouth there.
Yeah, well, since EOC was released, I mean, I used to hate it before EOC, but once EOC was released, it did become my favorite skill. I would still give it up for the completion of Invention, or even for smithing to 120 with what they discussed with Masterworks and such. I would have loved. I mean, it was such a perfect opportunity for 120 smithing there as well. But anyway, I mean, I am extremely happy with this one, 120 Slayer. But I know there are a few use skillers out there.
You know, and as much shit as I've said about it in the past, when it does come out, I will probably try it. And you know what? Maybe like 5th time's the charm. Maybe this is what's going to get me into combat. Who knows? I can't rule it out. Apparently, I'm in a fairly optimistic mood right now. But
I mean, Slayer's good, but it's not. I mean, it is sort of combat obviously, but it's not sort of high level combat like bosses and such. It is stuff you can just kick back and AFK
For the most
and
part.
relax.
I was
and
surprised
do, and,
how
make decent money.
I was surprised how much I could pretty much AFK Edemus when I got that task. So
Oh yeah.
And that's 115 engineering.
Unless you accidentally hit the elite Edemu while you're in the middle of all
right,
at the same time.
I got one elite Enemu and I pretty much ran away. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't kill it. It was healing too fast.
Yeah. The problem is when the other ones are attacking you so much too, because you got like 5 of them on it at the same time.
I had like 18 different things active at the same time. Like I was probably gold draining myself about 10 million an hour, and I still couldn't do it. Anyway, let's.
I don't know how you guys managed to do the Edemus. I've had it a couple times, but I can never seem to separate. I can never seem to separate the Edemus. They always seem to be.
The key to Edemus is to not separate them, but to AOE them. You wanna chain attack them, and to do that properly, you really need a Noxious Scythe. Or a hell, or I mean, what do you call it? What else works? Dragon Rider Lance would be a decent one. And I'm sure you could probably do it via abilities as well, like magic and whatnot. I just suck.
My Drygors work well down there.
I just suck, so I just throw money at stuff and hope it gets easier. Anyway.
Right.
Mod Joe also replied and says, Slayer 120 also stands as part of our first expansion. While it is focused on higher level players, it is worth remembering that much of Menaphos will be extremely accessible to a wider range of players with great content designed for them. So, Mod Joe just reminding everyone that, it's not like the first expansion is literally just 120 Slayer. It's just a portion of a much larger expansion that happens to be a point of contention for some and also just a hype for a lot of others. Therefore, it's getting probably more attention than the Golden City itself, which I think is kind of funny. But good of Mod Joe to point that out there, just to remember that it's not the only thing coming out in the first expansion. It's one part of a much larger package that is going to be delivered to us then. And if you're not interested in it, there will be other things that you're interested in. Range has sucked for like the past couple of years, I feel like, Sam. I love range, but it's actually one of my it's probably my favorite combat style visually. But every time I try to bring range, people are like, "Don't bring range. Range sucks. Bring magic or melee." Anyway, I'm also
it has become Magicscape.
Yeah, I'm also just a freaking combat noob, so don't listen to anything I say that is combat related. I'm hoping to have David on again next week or so, because we have some stuff to cover from him. Anyway, next question. Does this mean you will be moving other skills to 120? Mon Osborne replies and says, if it suits the skill, yes. Slayer is an
Stop for a sec.
Okay.
Stop for a sec.
Right?
That's good to hear that they're.
Why doesn't smithing fit the bill?
That's
though?
it. Exactly. I mean, I can understand mining not.
Yeah,
me too. I can understand keeping mining at 99, but smithing certainly, as a creative type skill, is perfect to go to 120, especially with
Masterwork and how much time we're gonna get to Masterwork again. It was updated, that talk, and we're gonna get to that again and learn about how slow Masterwork can truly be and how 120 just feels like it would fit, but. We'll get to that. But I'm glad to hear that he says if it suits the skill, which gives us the opportunity to at least present an argument.
That's good. At least we're not getting that straight out. Well, no, not at this stage.
The game's not ready for it.
Yeah.
The game's not ready. There's not enough high-level players. You don't understand. Yeah, no, none of that. It's just we're ready. We are ready. This game is 16 years old. And we can change the level cap.
And I've got, again... I've got a little something that I might read out a bit later if there is time that I sort of request too.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Whenever you want it, if there's anywhere in particular that it fits best, just let me know and we can just slip it on in. I'll continue on for now.
Someone isolate that audio.
Slayer is an unusual skill because the player was getting increasingly good at training it over the years. New weaponry and new gear was coming from bosses, meaning that creatures of yesteryear were being taken down without even the need for food. Slayer to 120 allows us to address this by bringing in more challenge at the top end of the skill without boss-like complexity. If another skill makes a case for the increase, then we will do it, but we will be incredibly aware of the pressures this puts on compers and maxers. Oh, poor babies. It's something we should do rarely and only with your input. I mean, if a skill is already at 99, how does it affect maxers?
Yeah.
I don't understand how maxers are affected. You had to get the skill to 99 anyway, unless it's a new skill.
That's it. Well, because it's 120, then they. I mean, I'm not sure how it's going to
got the wrong part of that
bother them. But yeah. The other thing is, I do want to give a throw out to one of our listeners, Thieves, who has coined a new phrase called the completioners.
Yes.
About the completionists who are always complaining. So the completionists. I love that.
I mean, you don't hear much whining from Max players, but I don't understand why they got lumped in with this, because I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but the people who are the already Max community, the already Max community, I get way too animated with my hands. I need way more desk space to get this animated with my hands. I keep hitting stuff. Yeah, so the Max community, I don't know. It seems as though Max is a fairly obtainable goal, even if you're not maxed yet. I don't know many players who are like, Max just seems like an impossible goal for me. And I'm not saying that those people don't exist. But the majority of people I talk to who play the game and play the game seriously, like they have a long-term commitment placed into the game, seem to think that Max is a reasonable goal to go for, where when I talk to comp, a lot of people kind of fall off the train when I start saying comp, and most people fall off the train when I say trimmed comp. So I'd be curious to know where they want to put Max players in as at risk for moving things to 120 when that doesn't affect the Max cape at all.
Yeah, like, unless they're then intending to push the Max cape out
to 120, which I would
be only the.
I would support a new tier of Max cake, like a Max cake, a trimmed Max cape, or like
with
you have
120 and all skills. Yeah, for sure.
I'd be fine with that. I mean, it would take me literally probably the next, and this would be good for me because it would probably give me like another 5-year-long goal.
Exactly.
But there are definitely some skills out there and that are not 120 friendly. Anyway, why have an amnesty is the next question here.
Because we're pandering to the crybabies again.
Easy escape now. Mod Rally says, there are multiple reasons we are planning to include an amnesty. When Slayer 120 was first announced at RuneFest, all the comp capers cried. No, it says announced at RuneFest, we said that you have a year to get 120. A 3-month amnesty after June launch would honor that commitment. It also discourages a negative approach to completionism. It is not just an issue for those who, with completionist capes, as significant numbers of the RuneScape players have completionist mentality, regardless of whether or not they own a comp cape yet. Finally, because expansions are new and Menafos at least will be filled with new comp requirements, we want to encourage players to explore and enjoy the new content at their own pace, without feeling the pressure of wanting to get their capes back. This is not about pandering to those complaining. We consider it a more positive change to our approach to completionist requirements as a whole. So we've made it to an era where completionist means completed at your own pace, but here's a trophy anyway until you get there to hold you over.
Yeah, and what annoys me here is he says it's not just an issue for those with the completionist cape, as significant numbers of RuneScape players have the completionist mentality already, regardless of whether or not they have the cape yet. But they're not going to be able to take advantage really of the
amnesty.
Of the amnesty anyway, because it'll be there after they do it. So it is solely for those completionists who are complaining, I'm going to lose my cape again. Which is why I've said let's bring out a different cape where put some long-term proper goals on it, and that's it. And have the completionist cape itself, once you have completed everything, as a cosmetic only cape, and do it something where you've got all your you have all your skills maxed, you have all your quests done, all the different requirements as such for a new named completionist cape, and make the actual completionist cape for someone who has done everything in the game, make it just a cosmetic cape.
I wouldn't, and again, I'd be fine with that as well. And I've come to the point where it's just like, what, the game has progressively gotten more casual over the years, and I have no way of stopping it. So, I mean, if this is just the next level of casual that we've made it to, then whatever. I'll live. It doesn't change my life. It makes me sad.
Completionist cape, though, for something that you haven't completed, yet they're still going to let you have it.
Yeah, like I said, it makes me sad, but I feel like this is a battle that is just not worth winning. Like, it's just, you can't win it, and it's not worth the time and effort to win it. So just let the babies have their cake and eat it too, and I'll move along and live my life because it doesn't impact me. You know, it annoys me. It makes me feel like this world is just, and I say this world as in, RuneScape, Gilmanor, it's becoming too geared towards people whom, just only have maybe like 30 minutes a day to play, which maybe that's why they're doing all this stuff, is to gear towards people whom only have like 30 minutes to an hour to play a day, and they're trying to get more friendly to that community as the hardcore MMO community kind of dies in a way. Like, I don't know if hardcore MMO, as a whole can really exist in 2017 without appealing to the casuals anymore. So.
And there you go, Mage. Well, when earlier on when you talked about the max cake for some reason, I went ahead and made you a max cake in hashtag live.
Oh, very nice. If you'd like to check that out, you can go to discord.runeweek.com, head over to the live room. I'll see if I can get that up on screen, though, because that is pretty good. Let me try. See if XSplit wants to behave, and I'll add a source real quick.
Oh, dear.
Classic max cake. The max cake.
There you go, fellas. Hope you enjoy that one.
Good stuff. All right, where was I? So I'm worried about the effect on the game economy. This is a pretty valid question here, as there's going to be lots of Slayer monsters. They're going to be fought for people who weren't doing Slayer anymore, perhaps. But let's see here. Mod Dolan says, this is something we're going to be careful with when it comes to the balancing of the new Slayer dungeon. As mentioned at RuneFest 2016, a treasure chest within the dungeon will collect the loot for you. This means players will be taking more loot than ever, before many drops may be left on the floor. So we have to be very careful when it comes to giving out certain items, such as herbs and seeds. See, I'm very glad they're thinking about this now. Due to this, the average loot of each monster will likely be lower compared to some previous Slayer monsters to account for this. We will also look at what items we are dropping and try to ensure, where possible, that we are avoiding disrupting the market.
And this would be the perfect place to stop actually just dropping items other than sort of rare drop table items occasionally, and introducing just gold drops.
And you know what? We're gonna come to another post here eventually from Timbo,
Yes.
who says that he says some interesting stuff about stuff like that. So we'll get to that soon as well. Mod Mad also has a comment here for this post, who says, every update, because it makes changes to the shape of the game and the supply and demand of the economy, it has a potential to affect the in-game markets to some greater or lesser extent. Some change will happen, but as Mod Days has said, we are considering carefully the potential changes and how we want to manage those. So they are taking into consideration, things that are going to be dropped and in what portion they're going to be dropped in, as to try and not upset the overarching, economy. Although that's obviously going to be impossible on, the release month. Obviously things are going to get a little wacky and people are going to panic, and that should be interesting. But over the long scale things, that's what's important. Short-term market fluctuation, not really as important as what happens, over the long term. So anyway, are you planning a new Slayer Master? Mod Rally replies and says, this is something you'll have to wait and see about. Most players seem to have the notion that Slayer above 99 will just use the exact same mechanics as the skill has now. Don't assume that will be the case, though it might be, and either way will have familiarity. If there is not a new Slayer Master in the end, it will be because there didn't need to be one. So
I think they will need to have a new one, being there, since that was mentioned in the last question there, that they're going to have a new Slayer dungeon. Specifically, it would seem like in Manifos, you would have to have a Slayer Master there.
Would you?
That's just maybe, because it's a high level area. People with high levels will probably tend to gravitate towards the high level area, so that's the reason why I think there should be one there.
But they're saying this is going to be open to a lot more people in places like Pyrnassius. So they have said there's going to be a full range of monsters from sort of mid tier up to high tier. So it's not necessarily that they will need one there. Morven will probably still be the highest level Slayer Master.
I would honestly rather see a new distraction and diversion than a new Slayer Master. Something that adds something new to Slayer, like they did when they released Rush of Blood, that I've absolutely never done. But, something along those lines where it was something Slayer based.
What about that guy outside the Slayer Tower that you... It's a different kind, and also the...
Yeah. A dungeon like that would make sense for, like, contracts or something.
Slayer contracts, that's the word I was looking for. specific Slayer
the third time
contracts.
I said it.
Yeah, they should be. I'm still hoping they
That
actually
I
put
wouldn't
one.
want, but yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
I
interesting.
would hope they would put one at what's that Brimhaven Slayer Dungeon as well. You know, outside there. Have it with Sanabosh there or whatever his name is.
I'd like to see where, because it is going to be sort of a whole new dungeon that, rather than just getting one, go and kill, 150 of these, you've got to go and you've got to kill, 30 of this one, and 40 of that one, and 15 of that one, and just you've got to work your way through until you get to your trace list in the middle.
I can't believe I'm saying this.
Something like that.
But what if the Slayer Master was like, okay, I need you to kill these monsters until it drops this item. Like, we just make completely RNG-based Slayer tasks. Oh my goodness, Magebit, what are you talking about?
I'd be screwed. I've got no RNGs, so I'd be screwed.
Or race the timer. You've got
beat the clock.
Timer.
Oh yeah, that'd be
done,
cool.
and you've got so many to kill, and
I need an Eye of Newt, but it goes bad in 5 minutes. My potion's going to go bad if I don't get, a Turoth tooth. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Isn't there already a Slayer challenge where you got to kill X amount of one and then X amount of another in the same routine?
That's Warbrand.
Yeah, that's Rush of Blood.
Rush of Blood.
No, there's another one.
Yeah,
I'm
talking
about.
Well, if you could figure it out, let us know, DX. Yeah. But what you're describing is pretty much Rush of Blood.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
hey,
Slayer Master. Yes, hey Harley. How is the boss? Yes, go ahead.
As far as the Slayer Master thing goes, it really does seem like they're hinting at that they're going to try a different way potentially to train 120 Slayer, which I think that's why they're saying they might not need one, is that you could just either get to choose what monsters you kill in a different way. Who knows? But that seems to be what they're
putting together your own Slayer tasks possibly.
Yeah, that seems to be what they're hinting at potentially trying. Of course, it's not finalized.
Enemies. All enemies.
And I've just posted it.
120.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I just posted in the Slayer challenges because I knew there was some sort of challenges and stuff like that.
Okay.
Not just for the challenge scrolls, but these are also challenges you get from Slayer Master, like kill, one blah blah blah. I think this is what.
Yeah, it's into the boss monsters.
Yeah.
So you brought up an article called Slayer Challenges. Slayer Challenges are unique challenges occasionally offered by a respective Slayer Master to players coming to seek a new assignment. Oh yeah. Where someone's like, how about something different? And they're like,
have a look at have a look at Duradel's one. No, it says like kill all the monsters there, like 21 crawling hands, 8 banshees, 9 infernal mages, 7 blood builds, 7 aberrant specters, in a row kind of deal, non-stop.
Yeah, like
that's what I mean.
Curdle will like straight up send you to the fight caves as well.
Yeah, and tell you to kill everybody, including Jed. Yeah,
yeah.
That's what I mean.
Gotcha. Cool. Anyway, where the hell was I? How is this boss dungeon? I'm sorry. How is the boss in the dungeon not just making it bossing and not Slayer? Mod Day says, there will be a boss more similar to the Legioness in the Ascension dungeon. It will have more mechanics than a standard Slayer creature, but it will be built and balanced more in line with the Slayer mindset. It is a Slayer dungeon with a Slayer boss in it as part of a Slayer update. That last sentence provides us no information whatsoever, but okay. So, again, I don't think he really answered much in there and basically just said, so how is this boss not going to be like bossing, but actually be like Slayer? And he's like, well, it's actually going to be like this boss. So,
well, it's probably more of an elite Slayer creature rather than an actual boss with boss mechanics and things, I think is what
the Legioness are fairly dumbed down as far as boss mon. But if that's the case, then we should lower God War's Dungeon. Like, God War's Dungeon 1 monsters are basically probably less difficult than the Legioness. So if that's the case, how come those are boss monsters then? It's like, I don't know, whatever. This is exactly why I just don't understand Slayer. It just, to me, this just makes no sense. So, but whatever. You can have your not boss monster if y'all want it. The next question is, any you making any changes? Great. Any you making any changes to Slayer Daily Challenge? That's a good sentence.
Are you making?
There.
I think that meant to say.
Any you making? Mod Nanty says to that butchered sentence, clearly, as your level increases, so does your XP. Therefore, by increasing the level cap to 120, you should expect to see the daily challenge reward increased in line with this. Any other changes are something we'll be keeping under our hats for now, but at the very least, you should expect to receive more level-appropriate challenges post-99. So that's good to know, because daily challenges may be very well where a lot of my Slayer XP comes from. Because I'm not the type of person who can just grind Slayer for 12 hours and not feel like a horrible person. I wish I could. I wish I had that in me. I don't know what makes divination so much different than just grinding monsters AFK for me. It's weird. Anyway. How many new mobs are you adding? Monterally replies and says, we are not saying yet, as that is one detail we want to keep back now, but we can assure you that any concerns that the Slayer 99 to 120 won't be a well-populated space are unfounded and incorrect. So, according to...
I don't know if they're unfounded. We haven't forgotten invention yet.
I know, I kind of agree with that. I guess they haven't. I guess what he's trying to say is they've given no evidence that it would be the case, but they've given us plenty of evidence that they just don't finish stuff. So, I think it's a fair, alleged accusation to have is well, what do you got? And then when they say that we're not going to tell you, then I can understand why people would be like, well, you got a bad track record here, so why don't you tell us? But they're holding back, so let's continue on. Are you filling all the slots again, so no room to expand? Macho says there is always room to expand. Nothing dictates that 2 different Slayer mobs cannot be unlocked at the same level, for example. We are confident that we can give plenty to do and still leave room for expansion in the future. So, that's interesting. Why are you focused on elite, skilled, and geared players? What about average players? Monte is replying and said, we are considering all player types of all levels and ability when looking at Slayer 120. The new Slayer dungeon will use similar mechanics to the Ascension dungeon, a task that covers a number of different monsters ranging from a relaxed, laid-back encounter up to a fight where you are dealing with different mechanics. This means no matter what your personal skill level, gear, or playstyle, there should be something here for you. More difficult monsters will be more rewarding to encourage higher engagement, but those of you who want a laid-back experience should still find competitive XP rates here. If you have any further concerns, please let us know. I mean, that's a fairly positive thing to say about the dungeon. I'm trying my hardest to be positive here, especially when none of this interests me. I wish I could spend more than an hour on skilling. I wish I could spend more than an hour on combat. I completely feel your pain in a reverse fashion. I want to be able to grind monsters, but I haven't been able to since pretty much I finished combat. Let's see here. Why are you focused on elite skill? I already did that one. Is Slayer 99 to 120 going to be locked into just a single dungeon? Monday says, on launch, the top rates will be within the Metaphos Slayer dungeon. However, depending on the difficulty of the monster you're fighting, you may have equal or better XP rates outside of Metaphos. We do not want to force you to stay within a single dungeon from 99 onwards. Slayer should remain a skill where you experience varied tasks. As more updates are released, expect to see more 99 plus Slayer monsters released. That's interesting. As they're going to try to not lock you into this new, best in slot dungeon, if you will. It's just, here, you're going to be here for the next month getting to 120, so have fun with that. So it sounds like they're trying to still encourage you to travel places. So that's a
maybe create a new rift that opens up in the Fremennik Slayer dungeon with harder creatures below there or something like that as well.
I like to see, the specialty Slayer monsters, I just want to see those remain in their natural habitats. It's like Kuradil did that for a lot of monsters back in the day. Like, they brought Dark Beasts and Steel, those Steel and Iron Dragons and stuff like that all together into one place, basically for high. I don't want to see that happen again. I really don't want to see that happen at, 115 or 120 or something, where it's here's all the Elite Slayer monsters in one place for you. Go ahead, Harley.
That's kind of my biggest worry in general about Metaphos is it's going to be another city that's gonna contain so many things that people will not want to spend as much time in the rest of the world, which I think is, I don't know, I think it's a bad trend. Prif is fantastic, but I honestly think Prif would have been better in spread out throughout the world instead of being one place.
I hope they learned a little bit from Prif as far as not creating an ivory tower. What?
Yeah, the
Waterfall
waterfall.
fishing. Hated that.
Yeah, I know you did.
Oh, what about the animation? They refused to change for it, so it looks really
Yeah.
lame.
Yes.
I will agree with Harley. There's like Priff would have been. I mean, it is what it is. Like it's the city of the elves, ooh. But all of the resources inside of there probably would have been better spread out throughout the world if you wanted to encourage people to be in different places. So again, I don't want to see the ivory tower effect happen again, where everyone's like, "It's dead outside Priff," and you know, it's like the world, everyone's dead. RuneScape's dead. It's like no, they're just all in Priff or in instances.
What would be great to see with this new Slayer dungeon is you do have a taskmaster outside, like the contract guy at the Slayer Tower, but you need to fill it. So you need to go and hunt. You know, if you want Kurasks in there, you have to go and hunt so many Kurasks and be able to load those into that dungeon first and things like that. So yeah, they'll have a few new monsters in there. But if you want some of those other creatures that are out there, you'll have to actually go and collect them yourself from another, one of the other dungeons first, and they last so long or so many kills in there before you have to go and reload it or something like that.
I also honestly wish that Menafos would come with a complete revamp of the wilderness of the desert. I think it would be fantastic. Like, why make one Slayer dungeon when you could just spread Slayer creatures out throughout the desert, and that would bring life back to a relatively dead area.
That would be interesting.
About the only area that still has sort of
Open
free land, really. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, I would be interested to see them do something with the desert. I think they have. I mean, obviously they're putting Menafos in there, but as far as the rest of the desert goes, I would love to see stuff in the rest of the desert.
Yeah, I feel like a whole overhaul of the desert. But honestly, it would just it would make Menafos feel much better, and you can still make Menafos an important hub, and maybe it has portals to other parts of the desert so you can get there quickly. But spreading it out is just always better. And even if it was just all focused in there, it would still be spread out more than what Priffindus is. And the desert really does need love in general at this point.
I'm waiting to see what they do with the weather system coming into the game this year, because they made a big deal about the desert and weather, and I'm curious to see if they actually have any plans for the desert already, to add life to it, if you will.
Oh, wouldn't it be great if it was like climate change there or something like that? Have a flood there or something?
Yeah.
Like it'd be like part the sea kind of thing, like Ben-Hur. Oh, what's it? I can't remember which religious person did that.
Moses.
Like part the sea. Moses, wasn't it?
Yeah. We're gonna just move along. Are you planning to do anything
that
about
was
Crash?
actually.
I do like the way he was going to say Ben-Hur parted the sea is what he's actually started.
I believe it was Genghis Khan.
It was Genghis Khan?
Definitely. Mod
You guys
Day,
trolling me again?
are you planning to do anything about crashing? Is the next question here. Mod Days says, we are aware of the issues due to the increased interest in Slayer due to the 120 announcement. We have some plans in place, such as changing respawn times to be static instead of based on a number of players per world, as well as further mechanics that could introduce alongside the Menafos expansion. We will continue to bear it in mind as we design and develop. Question for non-combat person here. It says that they want to change the respawn rates from static to be a static number from a dynamic number based on the world. How does that help if there are too many people there?
Well, if there's more people in the dungeon itself, they're going to create more monsters. The spawn rate will be a lot quicker, rather than just relying on how many people in the world.
They said this sounds like they're going to move away from that, though, Brent. It sounds like is there will always just be a high spawn rate, which will help with allowing more people to be there in the first place. So, if there's a Slayer dungeon, if there's a world that has 60 people on it and 40 of them are in a Slayer dungeon, that dungeon will still have as many spawns as a world that has 500 people on it. Which I think that's how it would help. It's you're not relying on people throughout the rest of the world.
You're not relying on a high population world to get the best spawn rates, right? Is that what I'm hearing? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's hope that they do the cannon. Let's hope they do the cannon check, because I remember back in the day, where you put a cannon down, if you were trying to kill, let's say, a Dagonov, and it would still kill, the cannon would literally steal a Dagonov because it hits more powerful kind of thing. I hope they do the check where they don't allow, say, a cannon inside a small dungeon area.
Yeah,
I hope so,
that way
too.
it steals all your kills.
Don't allow cannons at all in the new dungeon.
I've been anti-cannon since 2000.
Krondus rises out of the ground and kills the player, and he loses all his gear.
The cannon.
No, he
She
loses
literally-
all his gear.
No,
and
your
he kills
account
a
is
player.
your account
And
is
your
just
account is back to
consumed.
0. No, it's not consumed, but all your stats are you lose 10 levels every time you use a cannon in front of
Some serious canon hate going on here. Finally here, I don't like something you are doing, ? What? All right, that's a question apparently. I mean, yeah, all right. It says, so Mod he says, we want you to tell us about it. As you can see from this frequently asked question, the surveys we have conducted and the dev diary, we are really keen to hear your feedback and to communicate. So there you go. If you have anything you want to pass along to these wonderful JMods here, you can head over to this forum post and give your feedback. As far as our feedback, I mean, everyone's heard my feedback a million times. So
I would like to check it out. I'd like to check out this new Slayer dungeon, and hopefully it looks good. Hopefully it looks good and it's, suitable for everybody.
Yeah. I want to say that if you are planning on going for 120 Slayer, I would almost be willing to bet that it would be faster to do it now versus when 120 Slayer comes out. Right now, with things like aggression potions and cannons and the scythe and the monsters being as weak as they are, for a ton of tasks, you can get 500k to a mil Slayer XP an hour if you're min-maxing and paying attention and using all your ability rotation properly.
And especially with the Slayer masks too, to select the one you want to do.
That stuff too, or if you have enough points that you can just skip tasks. But so you can basically just, nowadays the amount of XP you get is ridiculous. I expect Menopause to lower that XP overall, and it will probably be slower. So if you are somebody who wants to rush 120 Slayer, it is probably worth doing before Menopause comes out.
Ugh. Any of Slayer. I would like it if Slayer just trained itself for me. Ugh. Daily challenges and some serious willpower is probably how I'm going to get through. Anyway.
During that 120 thing, we've had a couple of posts come in, one from Mod Ryan and one from Mod Shawnee. Mod Ryan, there's going to be some updates to the invention perks, which you can see in #live. Players will now, here we go, the chance of Prosper giving a clue scroll is now doubled. Tinker is now a 5% chance to give 25% XP as opposed to previous 1% chance, giving you a 10+% XP. And Pyromaniac will now increase your chances of obtaining Bernie the Skilling Bed. That's coming up next week.
Okay, this is
in #live.
Well, that sucks. That means now I'm going to have to augment a bloody tinderbox.
And also, Mod Shawnee has also posted in regards to the Orb of Oculus. This looks like a world map image right here, where you can right-click instead of using the Orb of Oculus. Yeah, but it says, for a future update, you'll no longer need to carry the Orb of Oculus around to use it. Features accessible via the world map icon. So you won't need the Orb of Oculus anymore. So you just use right-click to use the free cam, the skybox, and stuff like that.
Cool. That's pretty cool.
I'm looking forward to that because I
always
hate
wondered
carrying
why
around
I always wondered why they required that to be an item. I'm glad to know that they've built that into the interface finally, so you could just not have to worry about having an orb with you. I assume that could also run into problems of places you weren't supposed to activate it, maybe?
Waiting for the Reddit post where someone has like a green skybox and their camera is not working properly because they misclicked this.
It's just stuck in a sea of green. So, we have made it to the portion of the show where we get to talk about Treasure Hunter, everyone's favorite portion of the show. This is an open discussion on the new event that's just come into the game for Treasure Hunter, which is the Valentine's Day Part 1, which is heavily
I
Treasure Hunter
absolutely love this. This is so great because I hate Valentine's Day, and this means by it being fully Treasure Hunter, I don't have to sit there and try and unlock it.
Yeah,
it only takes like 10 minutes to cap. It's not even hard.
But someone was saying you cannot get it done and unlock everything.
Well, you can't get every cosmetic, but I'm gonna wait till we actually finish introducing it, unless we have. I have a lot to say.
Yeah, okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. I'll just quickly give a prime here. So the main differences between this one are that it is a lot quicker. You can pretty much finish the event per day in less than 15 minutes, which I think is not necessarily a bad thing. People are complaining about the fact that you can pretty much get 600 total reputation when the total of that is actually much higher to unlock everything. So yeah, there's that issue. Yada yada yada. I don't understand what anyone is upset about when they pretty much said this exactly was going to be the way it was going to be beforehand. And like you could be upset at them for doing this, but it shouldn't be a surprise to you, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, when they've been doing this forever. Anyway, Harley, please take the floor if you'd like, if you have a good rant or whatnot.
I feel like this event is, honestly, I don't understand the frustration either, because first of all, these are 100% cosmetic rewards, which is a big thing about it. You're not missing anything that's going to give you advantage in the game. Sure, you can only unlock one of the best prizes, so you basically have to choose if you want to unlock a few of the smaller ones, or if you want the walk override or the rest emote, unless you want to use Treasure Hunter. And also, the time commitment for this event, I think, is fantastic. The previous Valentines events have taken like hours upon hours of play to even get enough petals to get one thing. And like last year's or 2 years ago, it was like the petal collecting, and that's it was just random throughout skilling that you got them, and it was a crap ton of time and a crap ton of petals required to unlock anything. I feel like this event is pretty well balanced for a thing that relies on Treasure Hunter. And I also think the fact that it's cosmetics only makes me have no problem that you can't unlock everything. It's not like you're gonna
last year there was an XP bonus, right?
Yeah, there was. I think there's some kind of permanent bonus that you can just keep recharging. Still, I remember.
It works to this day if you still have charges for it. Yeah, it's like that giant hammer, that crush hammer for whatever, that would give everyone around you a boost for some amount of time, which then required charges, which you could buy up and pretty much use indefinitely if you had the money available to do that. But yeah, I would agree that this year that's not on the books, and that's a big improvisation. Improvisation's not a word, Mage, but improvement. Wow. I'm okay. Somebody call a doctor. I agree with you, though.
I'll call you a doctor.
Also the easiest walk animation we've ever had to
that's
unlock.
True.
Usually walk overrides take 3-4 hours a day of work to actually qualify to unlock them, and this is like 5, maybe 10 minutes max to cap the event, and you are done. The other thing is the getting the potions off of Treasure Hunter. It's not super rare, so if you really want this stuff and you were to use your Hearts of Ice properly, you could honestly probably get everything off of either your daily keys or off of one bond if you just froze the right categories.
I've heard, obviously this RNG based there. I've heard the most expensive I've heard so far is 80 keys, which I'll be honest with you, 80 keys is like nothing compared to these previous events that were like 250 keys, 300 keys, 150 keys. Like the fact that it's down to like 80 keys, which is still a lot of money to spend. I don't recommend spending real life money on 80 keys. Like if you have the gold in game to spare, then go spend it on 80 keys. I dropped 100 million on this stupid shadow gorilla just because I like it. It's okay to like cosmetics. It's when they go beyond cosmetics that I have a problem with.
Yeah, same.
And they have kept it in the realm of cosmetics. And that's fine with me. Having pay for cosmetics in a game doesn't bother me at all, because it purely just as a revenue source, and my character gets to look cool if I so choose.
You're not missing out on the best XP methods in the game by not getting these cosmetics, which that's like the primary reason. Is like give as many freaking cosmetics out as you want. I could care less. But the second you start locking best XP methods behind Treasure Hunter, that's when I have a huge problem with it.
The Staff of Devotion, though, that's not just a cosmetic, is it? That's an actual magic staff that can be leveled up.
Let me take a look at it. I don't know if the Staff of Devotion has any special abilities to it, but I can definitely look it up.
It just says a weapon with 5 selectable level settings. So
that's pretty common for Treasure Hunter. I mean, yeah, sure. If you want to take your Staff of Devotion and level it up to max and fight me with my noxious staff, we see who wins with your level 50, with your free level 50 weapon.
Okay. No, I haven't checked it out.
I know.
So I know last time they had things which leveled up to level 70 or level 75.
I couldn't help myself.
No,
I just wanted to be an asshole. No, yeah. They have in the past given away free, basically level 70 like range weaponry and magic weaponry. So yeah, I understand where that's coming from. Go ahead.
Even if that is a tier 70 weapon, you get one of these for free if you just spend less than 10 minutes a day during this event. So even if if there's only one reward that actually is physically usable, then that's actually fine, because if you want that the most, then spend your points on it.
How much?
Staff of Devotion is only 150 rep too. It's not even like an
I've already
expensive one.
unlocked 2 things from this event. And I honestly can't remember what they are.
Also,
the loot beam and something else. Good.
Yeah, I feel like this stuff's pretty priced. So I think people said you're gonna get 600 rep by the end. So you would almost be able to unlock the rest animation and the walk override. You would need 50 more, which would be pretty easy to get if if you're probably gonna get at least one treasure hunter luck within this, especially if you use a Heart's Advice. So you could unlock, quote unquote, the 2 best rewards in this event super easily.
Yeah. I don't think this is an overall unfair event compared to previous ones. The fact that pretty much everything here is cosmetic really is what keeps me at bay from attacking them over this. If there was anything that gave bonus XP, I would be pissed off, but it's pretty much cosmetic. And again, even if they were giving away a tier 70 weapon, I'd rather them do that than give away XP that then if I have buttloads of money, I can charge up a weapon that can give me that bonus XP for basically an indefinite amount of time. That's bad business if you ask me right there. But this, on the other hand, it's a lesser of evils, and this, at the very least, doesn't impact my ability to play the game by giving people an unfair advantage who have money, which, let's be honest, there are still plenty of those in the game. But let's applaud them for not adding one more today, or this week, I suppose. So, there you go. Any other thoughts or feelings?
I'm just annoyed with the fact. I'm like the original post. I'm annoyed with the fact that you can't. It's not possible unless you buy bloody treasure hunter keys, or if you're very, very lucky with that kind of crap.
Sure.
That it can't unlock it all.
I understand where you're coming from.
Without having to get the keys. And I'm one of those people that will not buy the keys.
And I respect your opinion. Like, if you don't want to buy the keys, that's totally fine. And I'm sure your opinion is definitely not, you're not the only one who has that opinion, is what I'm trying to say, for sure. But I think that it is still better than the alternative of us having to, watch people with buttloads of money just be able to get tons of XP. It's not preferable that it can't be earned in game, but on the flip side, it could be so much worse. And I think we need to push Jagex. We're never going to get rid of microtransactions, so we need to herd Jagex in a direction that does the least damage to the game.
Well, so DX, which one would you rather have? Would you rather have this event where you can get at least 2 rewards, if not more, depending on how you want to spend? Like you could get the majority of you could get at least half of the rewards just by doing the event itself. And it takes 5 minutes a day. Or would you rather have an event that takes 4 to 5 hours a day and to unlock everything? Because the thing that's the major trade-off here is like, this isn't like you're spending an hour a day here and then barely getting anything for it. It's like you're spending almost none of your time in game at this event, and then you get to move on. When stuff like the card event happens, that's like a 4 to 5 hour commitment.
You are right about that, Harley. You're right. It only takes about 5-10 minutes, if that, to complete a day's worth of the Valentines event. But I would prefer that it actually is possible to actually get all this stuff within the time frame.
Sure. And to answer that, I love the card events. I prefer those card events. I do. They're the ones that I love.
I would prefer RuneScape to not charge me $100 a year, but we can't all get exactly what we want. That's why life is full of compromises. And I think is a good place to compromise. If Jagex has to put items in the game that are not obtainable by gameplay, at the very least, let them not impact my ability to play the game. And I think it's a fair compromise between Jagex being a company and needing to make money, and me being a player in this world and not wanting my accomplishments to be devalued.
In a perfect world, I would gladly pay $20 a month and/or and/or 4 bonds a month to play this game, but I also know that the majority of players do not feel this way, so there has to be some kind of events, and I would much rather have every single one of those events be cosmetic related than be, something that gives an OP, an OP skilling method to somebody, whether it's, the Slayer mask that make it so you can pick your own tasks, or, stuff like the skilling outfits, which are finally starting to see in game. But how many years did that take?
Many years. That's an interesting point. So DX, in that scenario, let's just say you have to kind of pick between paying a substantially more a month for the game or putting up with Treasure Hunter and things like that. Would you rather pay more money? And I'm talking like absorbently more money, like $20, $30 a month for the game, and then everything's completable in game. You don't have to worry about anything at all. It's all inclusive. Or would you rather pay, less than $10 a month for the game, and then other people get nickeled and dimed? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Wow.
Hard to choose.
Yeah, it is. To be honest, I like what we're doing right now, like what we're paying right now, to be perfectly honest, because what they keep, as far as updating go, Jagex is nowhere near where it should be right now.
Okay, but you didn't answer my question at all. You just kind of deflected it there.
What else?
Yeah. Go ahead, Harley. Robot Harley has joined us.
Usually I'm the one that gets roboted on. It's not me today. No, we lost Harley. Oh, there she is.
All right. Am I working now?
Yes.
What I was saying is Jagex as a company, like RuneScape, like if you think that Jagex does not update the game often, play any other video game out there and you will get far fewer updates. You're lucky to get one update a month from most developers.
I never said that. I never said that. I know Jagex, they're probably the most updated game around. If
they literally hold a Guinness World Record for that. So
I must have misunderstood what you said. What were you saying then?
I would prefer what we're paying now, like not paying too much more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So again, you haven't answered any questions. You've just deflected.
With what we're paying, like Mate said. So would you prefer what we're paying now with microtransactions? Like if Jagex said, okay, we're gonna run a poll, and if it gets 90% votes, we will remove microtransactions, but it will require twice as much at least per month to play the game as far as cost. Would you be happy about that, or would you be angry about that?
I would. It's 2:00 in the morning. Stop.
You are on a debate podcast.
Yeah.
So don't tell me.
If those are the options, I would choose option 1. All right.
Okay. I mean, you don't have to get defensive about it. This is a debate podcast. We debate here. It's not a personal attack. We're just asking you for your opinion. I don't know if you remember like 3 years ago when you used to give your opinion to things, but that's all we're asking for. It's just your opinion. It's okay. Breathe. If you're too tired, go to bed.
Breathe. Yeah. How am I supposed to breathe? It's bloody stinking hot over here.
I think that's the heat's melting your brain. Anyway, we can move along unless anyone else says...
By the way, Harley, I did remember a couple of weeks ago you did mention about the bloody Great Wall. God, here we go again. We're off. The movie promo about the Great Wall. I never seen that promo until this week. It only just came out in Australia this week, that promo.
Okay.
All right, so anyway, back to you, Mage.
Thank you for that pressing information. So... We have, if we're done with microtransactions, anyone have any final thoughts on this microtransaction update, or forever hold your peace? We good?
I have a quick topic aside that I want to. Well, it's really a congratulations. I wanted to give a congratulations to Joy, who 3 days ago, I think, their comp cape.
Oh, wow, really?
Yep.
Oh, congrats.
She.
While Sorry.
She was quitting the game for a while and then came back because she had off school and decided to get her comp gate before she leaves again. So she'll be taking a break again at the end of February. But that's a pretty awesome achievement.
Yeah, that is pretty sweet.
While we're talking about congratulations also to Mod Shawnee, who got to 205% on Telos now. So
That's better than
congratulations
me.
to Mod Shawnee.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Anyway, why don't we move along to our next topic here, which is Ninja News Top 10. So this has been fully sorted here now, from my understanding. This is the 1 through 10s of the different categories we're going to go over as far as the priorities of these. So, Mod Kelby says here, hello everyone. In today's news, I will be going over the top prioritized ninja fixes and projects on our backlog. Over the next weekend, we put our backlog on Reddit for everyone to vote on, along with the second thread for people to suggest issues that didn't feature on the backlog. As a result, we used player opinion to help prioritize our work. Generally, I feel that so far it has gone pretty well, and it is likely that it is something we will try again and potentially make a fairly regular feature. So a big thank you if you were able to get involved. So, backlog prioritization. Due to the various sizes of fixes of the amount of effort that goes into them, we have created 2 top 10 lists. The 2 lists are for large fixes and quick fixes. Anything that we expect to take less than 2 weeks to complete is a quick fix, and anything longer is on the large list. And then things on the large list can be as large as full-blown projects. So without further ado, here are both of those lists, starting with the top 10 large fixes. Clocking in at number 1 being banks. It is too difficult. Yeah, they're already getting a big update this year, so you would think that they would just include this in with it, but for whatever reason, this is still in the ninja's hands here. Apparently, it's difficult to maintain a tidy bank. So, a project that would auto-organize your stuff for you, I assume, is high on the list for ninjas. I'm always curious how that would work, and how that must be a lot of work. You'd probably have to meta tag everything if there isn't a system already that exists in place for that. Who knows? Maybe it does. I don't know. I don't work for Jagex. But if that system doesn't exist, that could be a very tedious job. Number 2 is auras. Auras take up a lot of bank space. Again, still related to
what about like an aura bag? Maybe you could make an aura bag so you can store all your auras in it, just like a gem bag or just like, a coal bag,
It was talked about in the past, and I believe it's even been tried before in a tap project, and it didn't get very far. So hopefully, if it gets the full attention of the ninja team, we can actually get an interface where auras go. Because I really would love to free up like 20 bank spaces. Number 3 clocks in with D&Ds. There is too much daily scape burden on the player. I would agree with that. So hopefully something's going to happen with D&Ds.
I don't agree with that one, because it's basically, you do the ones you want to do. You're not forced to do them all. You do one day. You choose 2 or 3 to do each day, rather than worrying about having to do every one each day.
I pretty much just pick the one, whatever I'm training right then and there for whatever period of time is basically what dailies. It dictates what dailies I do.
Yeah, I completely agree with Pern here. We've had this discussion on the show before, so I won't go deep, but play the game how you want to and stop worrying about best XP methods. Dailies don't have to be completed if you don't want to do them.
Perfect world. Number 4, inventory. Currency pouch is inconvenient to use, and it's kind of ugly.
Man. I don't like the fact that it's buttonscape. You actually need to open the damn thing.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
The currency pouch could definitely use a UI reinvention, so that's number 4 on the large fix list, apparently. 5 clocks in with broadcasts. There are no clan broadcasts at the moment, and it would be nice if there could be.
I'm assuming they're meaning in Citadel. I'm assuming they're meaning what skill plots and stuff like that in the Citadel, because there is broadcasts outside the Citadel, but not for skill plots inside.
I assume they mean more along the lines of you log in and it's this is your message of the day and things like that, where clans can broadcast messages throughout the clan.
No, I believe what they actually, it's when someone gets something, whether it's someone maxes a skill or gets a drop or gets a skilling pet, they want that to be clan wide instead of server based.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. There isn't that feature. So if you're not friends with somebody in the clan, you may see the clan being like, "Congrats" to someone. You're like, "What's happening?" And then they realize you're not their friend.
That's actually further down the list, dude.
No, that's for something different. That's for friends, not for clans. Number 7 is prayer. There is only one quick prayer preset. Oh, that would be so nice if there were multiple prayer prayer presets.
That
you missed
out of
number
all
6,
these,
by the
that's
way.
about the only one that I like.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. Yeah, number 6. Sorry, you practice mode. You cannot choose which phase of a boss to practice against.
That would be cool.
It would be like
Next
number
blood
0
phase.
on my list. Nobody uses practice mode anyway. Number 8, quick chat. There are no quick chats for total level, total XP, and total XP in a skill. So that's true. There is not that. I also would like to see virtual stuff in there as well, but that's something they seem to be really hesitant to include, which is a shame. Number 9, Magic. Storm of Armadale is underwhelming. Okay. Magic.
It is shocking. Since the OC came out, that's been crapola.
And number 10, clocks in at broadcasts. Cannot interact for a quick social interaction, which is another thing that I want so badly is when somebody gets a drop. Yeah, just to be able to right-click and congratulate them easily instead of having to search through my friends list and find them. That would be so much better. And obviously, I think that, yes, could be tied directly into the clan broadcast, whereas when you receive it, yes, those two work perfectly together. And then, as long as your clanmate's on your friends list, you can then congratulate them. Anyway, so those are the top 10 large fixes. Is there anyone in particular that anyone wants to go into detail with? If not, then I will move on to the quick ones.
I still love the idea of practice mode. It's like a Star Trek holodeck with the safeties on. I love that idea.
So top 10 quick fixes. Number 1 is teleports. Elf City Seeds have too few charges. I've never used an Elf City Seed, but I hear that a lot of people like them.
Yeah, I use them a bit, and 3 charges, that is very annoying. So
yeah.
You don't even use them for your farming runs?
No, I use the... I have all the skilling outfit pieces for farming, so I have 2 minutes left over on my Juju potion by the time I've done my farming run. So I just don't need them. I can afford to run from the lodestone to the elf patch because of the enhanced farming hat and the enhanced botanist's outfit with the and then the RD Cape 4. Those 3 give me direct teleports to 3 of the patches right there, straight up. Which I just realized the other day how OP that really is if you don't have those items. It's kind of ridiculous how much longer a farming run takes. 'Cause we were talking about that the other day, and how you were having trouble fitting a farming run inside a Juju potion, and I was like, I must have mastered it. And then I was like, or it's all the treasure hunter items I have that are giving me this time advantage.
Yep.
That came into my mind. I totally forgot about it. I'm so used to just showing up at all the patches and not having to use the lodestones for a lot of them.
Yeah. Farming Juju potions give...
They give what? Oh, we lost you there at the end. All right. So anyway, I'll move back to top 10 quick fixes. So number 1, again, was a teleport seed. So number 2 is buff UI. Lots of effects that don't appear on the buff bar. So
I've just posted something in the hashtag live, which was something that Mod Shawnee posted. This is more UI on the buff bar. So
yes.
So it's in there in the hashtag live.
Right now, the buff bar, I think, can only have 12 buffs or something on it, and you can receive way more than that, so definitely.
Possibly.
There's also a lot of buffs and debuffs that aren't tracked, so it's going to be fantastic for action.
From a long time ago, and who knows, the J-Mods could have been lying to us, but they had mentioned, because this has been obviously brought up before, being it's on the top 10 list here, last time they mentioned it that it was a technical limitation, and they basically couldn't just add more. They needed to basically rewrite the interface to be able to hold more and accept more. So I'm glad to see that they are going to take the time to do that. Dungeoneering is at number 3 with saying it's tricky selecting bats and animated axes due to their hitboxes. So
I hope they look at that on the outside of Dungeoneering as well, because they're really hard to click outside of Dungeoneering, like saying Tavily in the Tavily dungeon.
You just down there fighting axes for fun?
I'm
just teasing you.
the animated pickaxes like a
They are. Their
100%.
hitboxes are
They
the
have
worst.
a 100% iron pickaxe thing. If you want to end up doing like a bit of invention like disassembling, just do it that way. Just spend about 5 minutes over there at the animated pickaxes.
And
Get a
now
full
we know why
inventory and just
DX
get
is
all
level 90 invention. Camping.
No.
He's been camping animated pickaxes.
What did I okay. Oh, mate.
Got a familiar UI clocking in at number 4 here. There's no option to dump inventory into Beast of Burden. That
Isn't there an
smells
option
like a
from the
Presley
bank where you can
comic
do that?
coming up in that one.
Isn't there an option from the bank where you could do that? Or it's the other way around?
It's the other way around. Every feature is the other way around for that. So yeah, there's no other way to like dump things in. You can put things in and drag things in, but there's no like bind a button and dump inventory too. Number 5 is summoning. Familiars aren't force called when teleporting to some areas. So I assume that would fix that problem. Number 6 is worlds. World 48 has an outdated total level. Okay, it's like total level like 2400 or something, I believe. And that's supposed to be the high level world, when I think 2400 hasn't been like the top tier total level for like 5 years now. I don't know. I've even seen people say to just completely remove total level caps off of worlds, that they're stupid.
Yeah, I support that.
I think you're not alone in that. Prayer clocks in at number 7 for saying that prayer potions aren't available for free to play. So that could possibly be changed. And number...
Sorry, imagine that'll be a very popular sync if it goes to free to play.
Heck yeah. That would change a lot of their combat, I would assume.
Yeah.
Buff UI. Many buffs and debuffs lack specific numbers. So I guess that would provide a more accurate information on the buff UI. 9 is chat. The character limit in friends chat and clan chat is too small. Yes.
Yes.
That is
You go over the bar and you're still typing in it, and yet you don't see anything. I hate that.
Well, even I don't even know when it ends. I just assume when it stops letting me type that's the character limit, and that's a stupidly small character limit.
I can't wait till them to change the font size. That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be nice. Someday we'll have.
Looking forward to the day.
Someday we'll have a non-sprite based font. I'm looking forward to that day. Number 10, invention. Installed gizmos cannot be seen when examining another player.
That's a good one.
So, I don't know.
Sorry, we're losing you. You're Robot Harley again.
That's really strange because I'm the one that's usually I'm usually the Robot Harley. Have you taken my job or something?
You sound okay now.
Mod Kelpie said to someone who was complaining about like the scams that go on in clans like we had where people pick like switch an I and L, that they're going to be fixing that soon, which is kind of interesting, which might be meaning that we're seeing font changes at some point soon.
Yeah, I assume what they're doing is literally just adding like serifs to the lowercase L's and whatnot, which is not a hard fix to change in the sprite of the font. But I would say, like, why can't we just not do, like, let's just get new fonts. Just new fonts, dynamic fonts, not image-based fonts. I don't know, but I am super happy regardless.
I would hope that they wouldn't just change 2 letters. I would hope they would introduce a new font. I don't even know, like, is this...
I'm pretty sure they're just going to change 2 letters.
If the font in the game is made by them, or I'm guessing it's probably not, but I guess there's a possibility that it's...
I don't know anymore. From my understanding, originally the font was based off of something, but I don't know anymore. RuneScape uses a pixel-based font. Yes, sadly, still. They don't have like a true type font. I don't even honestly. I'm not a font creator. I don't understand how fonts work, but yeah, their fonts are not like easily scalable, unfortunately.
Wouldn't it be great if RuneScape would give us the ability to actually use our own fonts that we've already got in Windows or Mac? That'd be cool.
Yeah, so I just wish that so that's actually one thing that I thought was, what if they just let us use fonts that were built into the computer? Then of course you got to think about copyright, so they could only use open source fonts. I don't know the word for it, so I'm gonna call them open source, but non-copyrighted fonts and stuff along those lines. And then you'd have to worry about like people putting fonts in that just totally do not work with the interface and then causing interface problems. And
You mean like wingdings or something?
you know there's going to be someone who's just like trying to use a font that just totally breaks something. So, you know, that could end up being a problem. So they probably want to make sure it's only like 1 or 2 fonts that you can select from. And I don't know what is stopping them from making it a non-sprite-based font, but it just seemed like their answer was basically because spaghetti code. So I don't know how easy. I think it's an engine issue. Like that's something the engine team has to look at. But who knows? Who knows? I would be all for them just replacing the font system as soon as possible. That would be good. So there you go. That's a top 10 list.
Also further down, go look at further down on this thread.
Yeah.
What are the mods working on right now?
Are more words here. You're right. The lists are the top voted ideas from existing issues on our backlog. Significantly more people went through our existing backlog and voted for ideas than those who went through the player suggested thread, which is understandable for various reasons. Therefore, we have made the decision to take the top new suggestions that we agree with and have added them to our backlog. If we do this again, we will have moved the suggestions thread to a week before the backlog voting thread so new ideas can be added to the backlog in time. The only alteration from how people voted was that we added the bank rework to the top of the large list, although in this case it's more of a humongous fix. Really fixes shouldn't be removed off this list until they are released into the game, but as it is, this is the first time we are doing this. We haven't added nor allowed people to vote on any of the fixes that we have already started and expect to release in the near future, such as that bank. So in the future you probably won't see things like that bank thing that probably is going to get released at some point in time. But anyway, so what are they working on at the moment exactly, being the Ninja team? So Mod Hunter and Mod Pi are both working away at the bank rework, occasionally taking a break to work on a few quicker fixes. Mod Mela is currently focusing on the quicker fixes and is currently splitting the attack and strength and defense constitution tabs before moving on to the top of the quick list. Mod AoB is, or has, by the time you are reading this, fixed the animated pickaxes and bats and dungeoneering before moving on to the prep work for the graphical rework to Sears Village and Camelot. That's why they wanted to get rid of Camelot. Less work.
So they didn't want to redo the castle.
Yeah.
That's absolutely what I read it as too.
Yeah. I didn't know they were pending a rework. If I had known they were pending a rework, my tune would have been completely different. They were just trying to get out of work in the castle.
I think they've realized it was more work to do it because I think Osborne just threw that Osborne seemed to pull that out of his ass. Like, to be honest, like he just sprouted we'll just remove Camelot. You know, why not? And then it was funny. I watched this Kelpie live stream that this document's based on, and Kelpie was like, "We're not removing Camelot." Like he was just like,
"That's awesome."
Osborne obviously has no idea how many quests go through that hub.
That's very true. The amount of work that would be involved in uprooting Camelot would basically take months.
But Mod Osborne pulls a lot of things out of his ass. I mean, he's still got that Bank Bitters one coming up soon, and also what's the other one that?
If Bank Bitters never comes out, then I will be happy. I just can't. Bank Bitters is so silly.
That's a terrible idea.
It's such a bad idea. It's just anytime I hear it, and it's been delayed. I think twice now, or it was initially.
I think it's coming out. Yeah, it's coming out in March now, I believe.
It's been delayed
at least. Yeah,
because it was supposed to come out last year.
Yeah.
Then
it was supposed to come out in February. Now it's supposed to come out in March.
I think it got pushed back. I think it was supposed to come out in 2 different dates of last year too.
You're probably right about that. I think it was supposed to come out in I honestly can't remember. I'm not going to speculate on that. But
when I think of Bank Bitters, man, I think of that Storage Wars thing. You know, that guy talks really, really fast and stuff like that, trying to make the bid. You know, it goes really fast.
I think of Storage Wars, except what we do is we find someone who broke into people's houses and stole all of their stuff and put it in their house, and then we just sell that house because that seems fair.
Yeah, how is that? The morality of it just seems ridiculous. Delay it till 2030. Yeah, that'll be good. Delay it.
But even then, it'd be delayed till 2031.
You know what? That's fine. We just keep delaying it until until Mon Osborne realizes that it's not a good idea. Anyway. Mod Harrison and Mod Wolf are finishing off the work and testing for the upcoming Skill K perk, obviously coming in, and the Mystery Quest, both coming this month. They are QA testers for anyone interested. And Mods Hing and Timbo are both mainly helping out on other teams at this time. As we said in this blog, we are currently looking to increase our team size with further 2 content developers and a character modeler, but recruitment and then training takes time. That wraps up today's blog. I'll try my best to answer any questions that you have. I'm also eager to hear your feedback. He used the wrong type of the word here, but we'll let him go. On allowing you to help shape our backlog. Thank you, Mod Kelpie and the Ninja team.
I just want to jump in there and say the Mod Malaya one where she's splitting the attack and strength and the defense constitution tabs. That is going to be excellent.
Yeah,
that's basically pre-EOC.
Yeah, when I have them all open, I have sort of, when I'm in combat, I have them all open down the bottom. And to flick between sort of the attack and strength and defense constitution is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So that is a really good one.
That's what action bars are for, Pern.
Sometimes you go beyond the action bar. Dun, dun,
yeah, but the stupid thing is they're now doing pre-OC stuff, man. If they had left the bloody EOC alone, forcing it in without having the backup from previously, they wouldn't have had this problem.
Remove EOC! Remove... No, I'm sorry. That's what that was starting to sound like.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
No, I'm not saying remove the EOC. I'm just saying they should have had that backup.
You're not saying
you're not saying remove it. You're saying they shouldn't have released it.
Yeah. I'm not saying that. You guys are.
That's exactly what you said.
Man. You guys are paying out on me, man. It's not cool.
That's what it sounded like. I apologize if that's not what you meant.
Dear. It's not what I meant, but knowing you guys, you just do it.
It's not what you meant, but it is what you said.
It was supposed to be released. Back to Bank Bidders real quick. Elite says it was supposed to be released in November, then was delayed till February, then delayed again. It isn't worth this effort. It's another of Osborne's terrible ideas, and he shouldn't have this power. I mean, I agree with you that it is definitely one of his terrible ideas, and
people have thought bubbles, and Mod Osborne has brain farts.
I'm sure Mod Osborne has had some good ideas and has good ideas. You don't get to the level of what he does generally by producing, unless you work for the government, you generally don't move upwards through failure. But I would say he generally didn't, get his position from having a shit ton of bad ideas, but that idea definitely reeks from at least overseas, at the very least. I don't know. Maybe I'm just smelling the oil tanker pulling into Boston Harbor, but I'm pretty sure it's Bank Bidders that really smells. Anyway,
I reckon I haven't even started working on it yet. Just like Mob Mark's thought bubble of the Church of You.
That will never happen, sadly. And that's the thing. It's like that's the difference between Osborne and Mark. Is Mark has a bad idea. Even though I love that bad idea, he has a bad idea and lets it fade into history. Mod Osborne is just keeping this thing in an iron lung and will not let it die. Speaking of iron lung, let's talk metalworking, shall we? And move on to the smithing masterwork items document here. So I'm trying to determine here if this is a completely separate document to what we've already read, or if this has been amended. So that's what I'm trying to do.
I'm pretty sure it's been amended.
I think
that's why I've looked at it.
I think you're right. And I'm trying to figure out where we left off. I think we left off at Glorious Ethereum Bars. I believe is where I need to pick up from. So if I'm incorrect on that, let me know. But I'm going to pick up from where they talk about Ethereum Bars here. Because I'm pretty sure we talked about creating masterwork items last time, but we didn't talk about these bars. Maybe we'll do a quick recap and just start with a summary real quick. Go ahead.
I love the name, the Purifying Flux.
I'll start from summary just because. A quick recap here. So anyone who didn't listen to our last rundown, here you go. Here it is again. So the process of creating masterwork items is complicated, time-consuming, and expensive. This is intentional in order to add value to the items and make them profitable to make. Only Ethereum tier 90 and high items can be masterworked. All previous tier items are limited to fine quality. Masterwork items have an item level of 90 and require level 90 attack or defense to use. Masterwork armor is tank armor. Masterwork items are augmentable and degrade to broken. Consumable smithing items are needed to repair them. Masterwork items can be combined with PVM boss drops to make even better gear. Item level 92 and even further once the gear is needed in the future. There will be a separate document about these energized items coming soon. Making masterwork items won't be a good source of XP. This isn't supposed to be a trading method, and if they give good XP, it would undermine their value. Only token XP is awarded for each stage of the process. So again, we'll continue on to creating masterwork items here. So creating masterwork items. The process of creating a masterwork item is intentionally complex, time-consuming, and expensive. It is the ultimate achievement of a high-level smith. Masterwork items are made from two significant components: glorious Ethereum bars and Ethereum filigree. Filigree. As well as a handful of readily available items. The same number of glorious bars are needed as would be needed to make normal items in a normal tier. For example, 10 for a sword. However, each bar is much more difficult and expensive to make than a normal bar. Glorious bars are enriched bars, also a new item, which have been repeatedly folded. 10 times as much filigree is needed as the number of bars that are needed. For example, 100 filigree would be needed for a 10-bar sword. Filigree has cheap material components, but is very time-intensive for a smith to make. Glorious Ethereum bars. Glorious Ethereum bars are enriched Ethereum bars, which have been folded 1,001 times in order to make them glorious. The folding process is very simple but lengthy according to the following steps. So take an enriched Ethereum bar. For 4 cycles, you obtain a folded Ethereum bar. Take said a folded Ethereum bar and fold it for 4 more cycles and obtain a further folded Ethereum bar. Take that further folded Ethereum bar, 4 more cycles, you now have a glorious Ethereum bar. So a lot of effort going into producing one glorious Ethereum bar there. A lot of time, if you will. And remember, time is money. Every time the bar is folded bar is repeated a variable increments on the player. Once the variable reaches 1,000, the next time the bar is folded, it becomes a glorious bar. This means that only 1 bar can be folded at a time. The recipe can be queued up to be repeated using make X. Total 4,008 cycles is about 40 minutes. So a total for a sword means 10 bars is going to take you about 400 minutes. So you're basically about 400 minutes to create one glorious Ethereum sword, if you will, at the base. Enriched and glorious bars are tradable. Folded bars are not tradable. So you could straight up sell the glorious bars if you didn't want to go any further. I assume value will be added if you do so, though. So let's continue on. Any points or thoughts so far? Anyone liking this or hating this, as far as it's been explained so far?
Glorious.
Love it.
Sorry.
I love it as well.
I do, yeah. I do like it, and I do like that it's going to be sort of time intensive. That you're not going to be just sitting there smacking them out. So you're going to have people who really want to dedicate themselves to making them, and it's going to open up a chance to be able to sell these on and make some decent money, I think, out of them.
I mean, I think one of my biggest worries is that as we talked about last time, this is a good idea, but it's something that has a time gap as far as people that like the people who get started day one are going to always be ahead if they just keep working on it. And my worry is that it's also going to skew towards the super rich. Like if you don't have
one of my fears as well,
billions of gold to dump into smithing, you're not going to be able to be one of the people who is competing at a high level of making smithing items. Like bossing, sure, to get the absolute best gear and stuff, you need a lot of money, but it's not like you can just dump money into bossing and be ahead. You also have to be super skilled. So hopefully,
I think Kilo has a valid fear here as well.
Yes.
Kilo says, "I'm scared that auto clickers will make this awful money."
Don't worry, all that clickers will get banned anyway.
Well, yeah, you'll have to have 99 smithing. I mean, that's the thing. It's going to be locked behind. First of all, like a skill that costs like 200 mil to get 99 in or something like that. So and also a ton of time.
And that could change with all these new updates. It costs 200 mil right now. Who knows what's going to happen? But
I imagine it would go up
more
for a
expensive,
while.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think autoclickers are going to be a problem just because of the level requirements, because you're going to be able to catch the majority of botters before they get.
The sad thing is like
smithing.
For anyone who visits Reddit for on the regular, you do see still plenty of people like, look at this moron, clicking a wall at Saren Stones, or this idiot, just facing off into the abyss at the waterfall fishing, or even at the harps. This, I saw one post the other day. It was like, this guy's holding up the wall for us here. Thanks for the past 4 hours. It's just like, high levels do auto click. That's the problem. Are they going to get away with it? Probably not. But
yeah.
Sorry.
I think obviously there are going to be some people who get up there, but I think you're going to get banned rather quickly. So it's not like it's going to be a ton of people. You know, like the majority of players you see are mid levels. Like,
can you imagine doing everything you need to unlock Prif and then be like, "Yep, I'm going to auto click with this account now." Like, oh my, how can you
get
do that?
banned the very next day?
It's like all the work that takes to get through to Plague's End, and then you're just like, nah, I don't care about this account.
The sad thing is, I mean, it could very easily be hacked accounts too.
That's very true. I should not pass that judgment as well. Those accounts could very well be hijacked. Yeah, sad to think about. Anyway, I'll bring us back on here, and we'll continue and talk about enriched Ethereum bars. So enriched Ethereum bars are combinations of many valuable materials combined into a single bar. Enriched Ethereum bars are made using the following recipes. So here's a couple we have listed here. So one is an Ethereum bar and an Invictum bar. After 4 cycles becomes one concentrated alloy bar. Or for instance, you have like one Necromium bar, one Dracorlith bar, one Rune bar, one Dragon bar, one Purifying Flux, and then produces something. There's no data there.
Where do you think they come up with these weird ass names, man? Jeez.
Being creative, I suppose.
Dracula bar.
A lot of it, I assume, is probably also from just like medieval lore, different lore from different countries. 10 concentrated bars and 1 Barrows bar for 8 cycles would produce 1 immaculate alloy bar, and then 10 immaculate alloy bars and 1 Praiselic bar for 16 cycles could produce 1 enriched Ethereum bar, for a total of 298 cycles or 5 minutes. Total for a sword being 10 bars would mean you would require about 50 minutes to do so. Enriched Ethereum bars, Dragon bars, Barrow bars, Praiselic bars, and concentrated alloy bars and immaculate alloy bars are all tradable. Purifying Flux, a secret dwarven technique. This item can only be purchased from the Artisan's Workshop for 10,000 coins per flux. Dragon bars, known by scholars as, oh god help me, and Terrafician Dracorlith, that's the best you're getting out of me there, and Terrafician Dracolith are the metal that dragon equipment made by Dragonkin are made of. It is obtained by melting dragon items at the Dragon Forge. 1 dragon bar is gained for each bar that, for each type of equipment that requires to create. So dragon armor for 4 cycles would create n number of dragon bars. So it depends on the amount of bars required for that specific item to take. So assumedly, if you broke down a dragon plate body, you'd get 5 dragon bars out of it. Barrows bars. Barrows bars are the metal that Barrows equipment are made out of. Surprise, surprise. It is obtained by melting Barrows armor at the Dragon Forge. 1 Barrows bar is gained for each bar that type of equipment would be required to make. So again, same deal for Barrows. Same deal for Praiselic bars, only that comes from Torva armor. So that could be super expensive.
Yeah, this is a fascinating idea to like turn armor into bars instead of the other way around. Like,
this is exactly what we were talking about like months and months and months ago. This is awesome.
Panic by Dragon and freaking Bandit.
I'm gonna stop breaking down my dragon items. Yeah, this could bring back the value of a lot of older armor sets. You know,
at least for the first few months.
Yeah,
like, it'll be much like Invention the way it sounds, as far as like causing those items to shoot the hell up.
If I can end up making like 30 million a day from doing Barrows, you better believe that's where I'm going. I don't, it's wherever the money is for me sometimes, if it's a time limited situation like that. But with that being said, I also want to be one of these smiths. But when I see things like Praiselic bars, I get a little bit frightened. I gotta break down Torva armor to make these. It's like, that's scary, but also awesome at the same time. Anyway, Ethereum filigree. Ethereum filigree uses cheap materials, but is extremely time-consuming to make. It is made using the following recipes. Ethereum bar for 100 cycles will give you 44 Ethereum wire. That Ethereum wire for another 100 cycles can be turned into twisted Ethereum wire. And then for 44, you could take that twisted Ethereum wire that you just received, and then for another 100 cycles, you'll get an Ethereum filigree. For a total of 4,600 cycles, or 46 minutes, being... yeah, wow. Total for a sword being 100 filigree, or 4,600 minutes for 1 sword. So you probably want to buy your filigree, I would assume. But if you're the one making the filigree, you could probably make some pretty good money, in the first few months. Excuse me.
I should note that the Dragon Forge that you're going to be using is locked behind the quest while Guthix sleeps.
That's good.
Okay, so just noting that for you.
That's a good thing, in my opinion. My throat's a little messed up at the moment, but I agree that I like seeing things quest locked. So I'm glad to know that
Definitely.
people won't be able to break that stuff down without going and doing such an important quest. God, I've lost my voice. Masterwork item assembly. Once the correct materials are collected, they are made into masterwork items using the following recipes. Example given of a sword, but other items would be comparable. 10 glorious Ethereum bars for 50 cycles would produce a masterwork weapon billet. Masterwork weapon billet could then, for another 50 cycles, turn into a masterwork sword blank. The masterwork sword blank, for another 50 cycles, would produce a masterwork sword blade. Masterwork sword blade, for another 50 cycles, would produce an annulled masterwork sword blade. This goes on. Annulled masterwork sword blade would then turn for another 50 cycles into a quenched masterwork sword blade. Quenched blade to tempered masterwork sword blade. Tempered to polished. Polished to finished. Just, yeah, it's crazy, right?
Oh, there we go. Good job.
It just goes on and on and on and on, my friend. It really. And
it's a good thing bank space isn't a problem in RuneScape, and that these items are going to probably take up like unique space for each one. And
yeah,
be ridiculous.
Definitely glad that they sorted that out before releasing this content. But then again, maybe never mind. No, it won't. I was gonna say maybe the bank rework would help with that, but no, it won't. So finally, after you have celebrated at least 3 or 4 birthdays, you'll get to the end here, and you'll have a finished Masterwork Swordblade, finished Ethereum Crossguard, finished Ethereum Hilt, finished Ethereum Pommel. Just throw in another 100 cycles, and now that you're, probably have seen your grandchildren grow up, you have now a Masterwork Ethereum Sword that you can sell to pay for their college education. So, there you go. So, total materials, 10 glorious Ethereum bars, 100 Ethereum filigree, 2 Ethereum bars, 1 onyx. It's just, wow. So, for total being 5,057 minutes in total to create that one Masterwork Ethereum sword.
Forget about like level 120 spending. It's more like 1,020.
That is effectively, I want to point out, that is effectively about 84 hours to produce one item. That is exactly what I wanted. This is hands down exactly what I was hoping for.
And of course, people who don't forget also the more you do this, the quicker it will get, because you'll start making
double, triple,
exactly.
quadruple. Infinitely more.
But yeah, this sounds like this could actually be an item that will retain its value for
considering
100 mil.
Considering the average I would say the average hardcore, like extreme hardcore player who plays this game would still take them 2 weeks to make a single sword. Even if you're playing this game 40 hours a week, which, let me remind you, that is an unhealthy habit, but even if you're playing this game for 40 hours a week, you would still take you 2 weeks to create a single item. So, heck yeah, that's going to keep its value. And plus, all the items that it's consuming to get to that point, this is beautiful. And if you think this is beautiful and it's in exactly the way that it is right now, tweet JagXJack, at JagXJack, let him know that this needs to be as pure as possible. We need to not deviate from this, as pure as possible. The only problem that I think I can really think of is the one that you brought up, Harley, being the bank space of all these unique items as they're half finished. You're going to have all of these items, and if they don't give us more bank space for this, or a way to store these items in a special pouch like Invention has until they're actually finished, then I could see a huge bank problem.
That would
occurring.
be honestly great if they added, if there was a smithing thing like the Invention pouch,
I agree 100%.
And all your different things,
all the different
to
parts
keep in there.
Yeah, all the different parts along the way. So you have like a slot for specifically, for items that are like a sword blade slot, and a sword blank slot, etc., etc. And then you can just have as many of those as you want until you need to actually use them. Because theoretically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, there's like 20 plus steps in here. So you could effectively be wasting 20 bank spaces just by being in the process of creating multiples of these.
I'd imagine you'll find the bank rework will come out before this, though.
I hope it does, but unless the bank rework gives us a bunch of space, then I don't think the bank rework will help us here.
I mean, I expect the mine and smithing rework to be first, to be honest, because they've said that this was probably going to be the first half of the year. I mean, they could push that back, and I would be okay with it because this update needs to be done, right? But I think their
they
current
said it
plan
was the
is to
second
get this
half
out.
of the year. Anyway, no.
Unless they changed it again.
If I remember correctly, I think they were aiming for like a September-October release for this, just like they basically postponed it for like a year. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I remember. But my memory has proven us to be far from perfect.
I could be wrong too. That would be much longer than I was expecting. But yeah, also even if it does come out after the bank rework, they've already said the bank rework is not going to include more bank spaces, and they claim it's because they can't. But I think it's because you got to sell them on Solomon's,
Pretty much. Also, Nightmare Moospa pouches aren't selling for 30k each, and that makes me sad. I'm out of Nightmare Moospa pouches. Dang it. Anyway. Why don't I read here about XP? So let's see here. Where did I leave off? Let me just read the finality here after the 5,000 minute. The 5,000 minute revelation was a little much. Shiler's saying it was the second half of the year, so I think it's supposedly like September, October. But could be wrong. Could be August. Could be July. It depends. I don't know. When does exactly the second half of the year start? Like June, July-ish?
July 1st.
Okay.
June 1st, sorry. Oh, God.
Anyway.
July 1st.
Glorious bars and final masterwork swords are tradable. None of the intermediate components in this process, hilts, etc., are tradable. One potential alternative option is that you make the sword using the Artisan's Workshop ceremonial sword making process. This would be more interesting gameplay, but also be restricted only to swords, so may be impossible to develop in a reasonable time. Yeah, if it's only for swords, I don't want to add double standards to the materials. I think in the future that would be a really interesting expansion upon this to go beyond the fact that you've now created a Masterwork Ethereum sword and then be able to take that Masterwork Ethereum sword, bring it to the Artisan's Workshop, and enter into a minigame where you have a chance of literally destroying it by accident or increasing its value further. Like, that would be interesting to me, but I don't want to see it just shoehorned into this model particularly. I like this model as is. Any thoughts on that, or should I keep going? XP for Masterwork Smithing. Masterwork Smithing will give poor XP rewards for the time and materials invested. It is not intended to be an effective method of training, which I think is valid. It's not. It's a money-making method. Money-making methods should not be skilling or XP methods as well. So analysis and economy. As discussed in the dev diary, the difficult thing about making smithing profitable is that you can only make money by giving up something in return. In any situation in which smithing an item is either directly advantageous to the smith, such as it being fun or rewarding XP, enough people will be prepared to pay for that privilege that the marketplace of the resultant items will be lower than the materials. What this means in practice is that for smithing to be profitable, it needs to be under rewarding in other ways. This is why Masterwork creation does not reward significant XP. It is also why the manufacturing process takes so long. If creating a Masterwork item took less than a minute, people would be willing to do it for free, and would expect it to be able to be done via assist, and there'd be no way to make money. Ethereum filigree in particular is specifically designed for players who aren't interested in playing the GE for profit. Because the materials are so cheap, the time investment is so high, and it's needed in such large quantities, it should be a way to make low-risk profit using the smithing skill. If you look at the filigree time requirement and think this is too much, then you should consider buying it from others. Folding bars is similar, although the risk here is higher because the initial investment in an enriched bar is much higher. Another reason for the process of making a single item being so long is to restrict the supply. If Masterwork items could be produced at a rate of hundreds per day, they will pour into the economy, especially immediately after launch, and probably be wildly exceeding in supply. One way of restricting this would be to make them one per day or similar, but we agreed that this doesn't feel like a smithing mechanic, and we are trying to lessen the number of dailies rather than increase them. To try to keep the feel of the classic RuneScape gameplay, we've made it a time investment rather than a time lock.
It's also... in general, it feels way more like smithing,
In
you
real
know,
life.
like wood core. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know how long it actually takes because I've never, you know, tried to do such things. But it's not like it's something that you just click, you know, go to an anvil and pound for a few seconds and nope, there's a sword.
Right? That would be awesome if that's the way it was. But I mean, you hear like, oh, this katana was folded like 10,000 times, like, and then that's like how you know how hard it is because it was folded so many times over. It's like, oh, yeah, exactly. It's like this masterwork blade has been folded like 5,000 times. That's why it's so much better than your typical Ethereum blade. Like, it makes sense and it feels good. So let's see here. Where the heck was I? Let's see. Another reason for the process of making a single item being so long is to restrict supply. I already read this one, right? Oh, yeah, okay. The sheer annoying complexity of the design serves a similar purpose. If some people are to put off by how fiddly and intricate it is to have to keep track of all of those individual items, that restricts the number of people who are supplying masterwork items to the market. I realize it's a slightly perverse design, but if it's looked at like a fun and simple process to everyone would do it, and no one would make money from it. The players who look at it, who look at how long and fiddly it is, say, "This looks awesome," are the ones who will be selling it. And that's me. This literally feels like it was designed with my playstyle in mind. And I have no idea if that was the case or not. Probably not. But I'm going to be a narcissistic bastard here and say that like it really feels like Jack just got it right for me personally. And I hope you would have similar sentiments, because I really hope this doesn't get too far from what it is right here. Good?
I think this is Jagex. I mean, of course, it's not out yet, so I reserve the right to diss it once it comes out and ends up being terrible. But it sounds like Jagex actually like thinking about skilling in a very modern way. And yeah, I mean, me as a skiller too, this is super exciting. I don't know if I'll be tracing masterwork right away, because it sounds like there would be a lot of money to be made in other aspects of it. But I will have 99 mining smithing when this rework comes out, and I will definitely be either mining or smithing some kind of thing to make a crap ton of GP when I can.
Heck yeah. I mean, I'm hoping to be 120 divination before this comes out, because I'm going to probably drop divination if this comes out when I'm in the middle of it, as this sounds super interesting. So I'm kind of hoping I can finish divination.
Finally, I'll be able to melt down my dragon armor to make dragon bars.
Yeah, right? It's a long time coming.
Yeah.
Oh, DX's dragon armor will finally have a use again.
So hopefully I can obtain 36 million XP in divination before this comes out. But I'm pumped. I am super pumped for this. Let me check my time here. Okay,
hopefully you can obtain like 50 billion gold too, so that you can.
If I do option 1 divination all the way to the end, I probably will. But in all seriousness, if I keep doing option 1 divination, it will literally take another 7 months to finish. So I can't have it both ways. I gotta make a decision here: either go back to option 2 after double XP weekend, or be faced with literally the remainder of the year here. And I'm probably gonna go back to. And option 2 is not bad money. It's just probably about $1 million less an hour. So it's like 1.5 million an hour instead, which is, you know, enough money. Anyway, so let's continue on here. Unless anyone wants to bring up any final thoughts on the mining and smithing, or just smithing rework at this point, really, where we've already covered how mining's pretty much going to function. And smithing is really the start.
I'll hold you to that, Elite. I'll hold you to that, Elite. Don't worry, DX. I'll get you some bundles for your birthday.
I didn't get it.
I hope that this comes to more skills. That's all I would really have to say.
Yeah.
There's a ton of other skills that need something like this, and I hope that this is just the start. And I hope we see it quicker. I feel like skilling, I don't know. I feel like we need at least one revamp of skilling skills a year just to get them caught up and functioning again. There's so much that's left behind. I'd love to see something like this done with woodcutting and fletching. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I really my secret motivation is I just want woodcutting to be a useful skill again, because it's the best skill in the game.
Woodcutting is great. It's one of my 120s. I like woodcutting. I would love to see woodcutting and fletching get basically a similar treatment to mining and smithing, and then again to rune crafting and the crafting skill in general. I want to see this happen too as well. I want to see this happen to everything, though. Really, like this is
rune crafting. I think is pretty healthy. I mean,
rune crafting is pretty healthy.
Use some changes, but
I just want to see something in the end game for rune crafting. It doesn't have to be like, you know, as crazy as mining and smithing is or anything like that, but I feel like, you know, crafting itself is more what I'm looking at in that sense of it needing more value. The rune crafting aspect of it, less so. I would say the rune crafting is to mining as to, you know, smithing is to crafting in that sense. And it doesn't work perfectly because crafting covers more skills than just rune crafting. I was mainly thinking of just in a magical sense. Those are the only ways to pair those together. But even if it's not magically related, crafting needs a very similar update in my opinion.
It's interesting. We were talking a few days ago, you and I, about rune crafting and the fact that the mining and smithing rework, depending on how they handle the armors and such, may honestly cause rune crafting to become a less profitable skill because nature runes may crash. That they've been talking about lowering the high alch value of rune and stuff like that, and I am still of the opinion that they should just leave high alch values where they are, as they are 15 to 10-year-old values that have already, inflation has already made them super cheap. So I feel like if they would just leave them there, it honestly wouldn't be a problem. They would have to do way less balance in the game. But who knows? I will not be surprised if anything, and that's what Jagex decides, because I think that's, first of all, it's the easiest path, and second of all, then you have stuff to put on drop tables. Like if you just made rune and below the drop table fodder, I'd be completely okay with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with it as well, as long as we are understanding that it's purely alch value at that point, and disassembly, I guess, as well. Those are their main value at that point, is purely for, you're going to alchemize it, or you're going to break it down, or you're going to understand by selling it that you're basically going to sell it for slightly below alch value to someone who does want to alch it. And yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Anyway. Any more thoughts on that, or should I move along to our PvP topic? We have a little PvP survey here.
I think this topic has apparently blown Perrin's mind too much to talk.
He's just giving up.
He might be asleep like our army.
No. I'm just just letting you guys go for it.
So why don't we move on to PvP then? So this survey, I'm pretty sure, is a non-official survey, but it's interesting nonetheless. So it says, your PvP revival attempts have been less than successful. What should be done with the wilderness and PvP? First question up is, what should be done to deathmatch? Nothing. Abandon it, but don't delete it. Try to fix it, or delete it from the game and introduce its rewards elsewhere.
Delete it from the game.
Yeah. Delete it from the game and introduce its rewards elsewhere.
Yep.
Is what I would do.
Now I checked this out the other day when I was doing my clue scrolls.
Mm-hmm.
There was only 7 people on the deathmatch world.
Yep.
Same with the bounty hunter world. There was only 7 people.
And of course,
out of 2,000.
Of course, that's off peak hours, but still, that's pathetic.
I mean, I have checked, and there's been 30 or so people on those worlds. I will still maintain that there is plenty of stuff in this game that has a small audience and has a place in the game. I think the only thing that they should do to bounty hunter is make it so the worlds can have more happen on them, so people can stop acting like that's a big deal when there is plenty of other stuff. Like, I don't know how many people kill the legionnaires every day. I wouldn't be surprised if that's not very many. There's plenty of stuff.
I was surprised how few people kill Araxi a day, and how vocal that community is, despite being only like 2,000 or 3,000 kills.
Like, the thing about the PvP community is it's very much in the spotlight, but no, killing these updates is a terrible idea. They just came out. They have to sit there over time to potentially gain a player base back. I think the wilderness in and of itself needs revamped, and how deaths in there work, but we've already talked about that. And just deleting these updates makes absolutely no sense. I mean, let's delete the Arc too. Before Batch 2 came out, why didn't we just delete the Arc after Batch 1 came out?
But there is no Batch 2 coming for PvP, and they pretty much said that. Whereas we knew there was
attempts that they made to try and get interest in PvP, and you
can't just make one attempt every few years and expect it to accomplish anything. It requires more work than that. You have to build the community, and it's not just something that you randomly fill. And I feel like these updates are more successful than what people think they are.
I would love to get some
I don't think there's a community there anymore, though.
I would love to get some data, but if you have less than 100 people a day taking part in something, and I'm just making these numbers up because I don't have values, but then and then you have half of those people just boosting the game, is that a community anymore? And again, I'm really just asking a non-question here because I don't have the numbers, and that's one of the problems, that we can't fully give an educated stance on is because Jagex will not release the numbers to us.
And I don't feel like it's less than 100 people a day. I mean, you see people on this. It's not like those worlds get to zero and stay at zero for long amounts of time. And it's like the same people are always on. It's like if there's an active between 5 and 30 people on a world, like that means there's got to be at least 100 people, if not more, cycling through that.
Well, here's again, if we had the data, and if at peak, at least 100 people. 100 unique people a day are participating in Bounty Hunter legitimately, and that's the problem, is how do you detect who's participating legitimately and who isn't, who's just boosting it. And if there's at least 100 legitimate players a day, then I agree with you. It should remain in game because 100 people is not nothing. That's a legitimate base. I would also argue that they have fostered a PvP community. It's just in their other game. Like all of their PvPers have seemingly
old school
moved over to old school. And we're having a real hard time getting them back, even though this update seems pretty decent on the surface, in my opinion, as a non-PvPer.
Here's the funny thing, though, is like if you look at the old school community, there are posts all the time on that Reddit about how we need to revitalize the PvP community because it's too small and there's not that many people doing it. Yeah, like I think that community, people think it's big, and it's certainly bigger than RS3, but it's still not a huge community.
Still several hundred over there.
Maybe that just says something about the state of
50 or 100 here.
Maybe that just says something about the state of PvP and MMOs. Maybe just like MMOs are moving away from PvP style content in this type of game.
It's just MMOs are a bunch of different things you can do, right? And each of them has their appeal to a certain group of people. So to me, that's all it is. Like I think playing World of Warcraft, like PvP in that game was popular, but it wasn't the most popular thing, and I think it's only highly populated because they have millions of players. I think when you get to a game that has like a few 100,000 active players, the percentage of people who are doing each individual thing in the game is just gonna be low. Not the percentage, but the number. The raw number is gonna be lower, but the percentage will be about the same.
Well, so then again, as far as the percentage goes, and again, we're running a numbers game here because that's all that business really boils down to is the numbers. As far as like, is something worth keeping around or not in the long run? I mean, the numbers are pretty much can give you an answer to that or not. And I really wish they would just tell us the numbers, because I think that really speaks volumes for whether or not the content is worth supporting or not. And maybe not even deleting, because it's like keeping a piece of the game around or not keeping the piece of the game around isn't going to cost them any more or less, right? It's just a matter of there are some nice rewards locked behind this content that unfortunately no one seems to like, not even most of the PvPers, or maybe, and again, that information, that when I say most of the PvPers, that just seems to come from Reddit and from polls like this, where I get these surveys where people are like, well, it's dead. It's, what can we do with it?
It's very skewed. It's like, I mean, I think, if you look at things like Reddit and stuff like that, you can say the skilling community in RuneScape 3 is dead, which I would, say is categorically false. But like, it's not like people on Reddit really ever care about skilling all that much.
Seems like all anyone cares about is combat, and PVM specifically.
Yeah. And I mean, I think also the other thing is, like, in general, like, I mean, Deathmatch Bounty Hunter could have been more successful. But in general, in my opinion, the Wilderness updates this year were fantastic. There are more people than ever who are using the Wilderness. I think most of us on the podcast go in there at least once a day.
Because they added skilling into the Wilderness. That's the only reason you get me into the Wilderness. That is you can't be talking about PvP and then tell me you go in the Wilderness.
But it also brings in PKers. I mean, there are more PKers, whether it's at the Abyss or it's... I've had people attack me while I'm doing farming runs. There are people who just camp the farming plot to get the
But you're looking at two totally different type of things there. I mean, you're looking at an entire world dedicated to PvP, which there is anywhere from 5 people to 30 people at peak times. And you're looking at the whole game where there's a lot more worlds. And yes, there's a lot of PKers out there, not PvPers. PKing and PvP is totally different.
No,
they're not. PKers are out there just hunting people to get money. PvPs
I wouldn't even argue it's to get money. It's just to be a dick half the time.
Yeah, well, that's exactly. I mean, they're not looking there for a fair fight. I mean, whereas a PvP, they go out there to duel each other and see who's the best.
That always confused me.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing: people used to go into the wilderness to do things, and they would take some armor to defend themselves.
There used to be
people
a
don't
threat.
do that anymore. Not everybody, but I am someone who goes into the wilderness prepared for a fight quite often. Like
I purposefully
everybody does that.
Yeah, I purposefully de-arm myself in the wilderness, so if anyone does try to fight me, I just basically sit there and take it, and just die. And that's just my attitude towards PvP. It's just obviously not for me, and it's cool if it's for other people. But and if you're putting something in a dangerous area, I don't think you have a right to complain about dying in that dangerous area for sure. Like if I died at a farming run, I have no one to blame but myself for putting myself in that dangerous area.
When you go to the farming run, I take my wildy sword and I take a seed, and that is all I take out there. The wildy sword, once I run back into the volcano, level 30, teleports me straight back to Edgefield, and I'm out of there.
Yeah. And again, there's still risk when you're in there, but good.
That's right.
People could teleblock you. And looking at the worlds right now, okay, so the lowest population world is EOC Bounty Hunter with 9 players. Then second is 20 players on a legacy-only minigames world. I don't hear people complaining about removing that. And then there's the legacy-only Bounty Hunter world that has 21 players. And then after that is the legacy-only world that has 25 players, and then there's an EOC world with 28. People don't complain about removing the other low population worlds.
think we should.
Like it's not like it's...
but we've had the calls before about cutting back on the amount of worlds that are there.
But even if you cut back, there would still be lower population worlds. Like there's always going to be low pop worlds.
If a world, 28 people that are in that thing, they're probably doing other things in other areas.
If a world
there was
averages
a world
under 100 players, if a world has an average of under 200 players for a trending period of time, like 30 to 60 days, maybe longer than that, maybe you should trend it for like half a year even. I don't think we need that world anymore. It's just
But the thing about the Bounty Hunter worlds is they are one-use worlds.
Niche.
Like you don't
Extremely
go there for anything else.
That's
It's like
exactly right.
if there was a divination only world where you could, or like a level 95 plus divination only world, I bet you that would have 20 people on it, at peak times.
Sure,
Like,
you're right. It does seem silly to split worlds based on activity. I will agree with you there.
but I also think, Bounty Hunter, I think on some level possibly needs that. It helps them do things like make it so that you can't trade on that world and hopefully deter at least some people from, selling kills and stuff like that. Like I think that's, they did it for stuff like that, and it helps focus the world. But we can't judge Bounty Hunter play numbers versus other worlds. You have to judge Bounty Hunter versus other activities in the game.
No other activity gets its own world, though.
Well, yes.
How do you compare something that has no comparable item in it? Like,
that's
no other.
You can't
part
say
of my
that
point.
There's no one else out there doing Bounty Hunter on other worlds. There is 20 people playing on that world, and that is the only 20 people out of the 40,000 online who are playing that game.
Like, and what I find interesting here is we argue the point of Bounty Hunter in its world, but we leave Deathmatch alone because it doesn't hold its own world. It merely uses shard worlds. So perhaps, maybe to alleviate the server issue, even though there really is no server issue, but the issue of looking at that glaringly low number on the server is, instead of using a full world for it, why not just instance a piece of take the wilderness, just cut that map off, dump it into shard world like you would do with a citadel or a big chinchompa or whatever, and then bam, it just jumps you on a world like 734 where literally nothing exists but the wilderness and Edgeville. And it's not a world per se, it's a generated world that then only puts people there, similar to how how Deathmatch works, where it just pairs you against players of similar elo, if you will, and just dumps you into the game, but it's just pretty much on any world you want, and then it puts you into a specialized server. I don't know.
Yeah. I would say, if there wasn't specialized rewards that weren't available anywhere else, then probably, yeah. But I mean, the fact that, it's a very limited amount of stuff coming in and such coming from those for, as we said, 7 to 20 people. Even if there is 50 people who play, it's just I would rather see those rewards introduced elsewhere into sort of more open played areas.
I think that's most people's reasoning, sadly, as well.
But I think every community deserves their way to make money. Like I think Clearly, we've
I
been talking
agree.
about for the last 45 minutes about the skilling update that's coming to give skillers money, and like there will probably be not that many people who will chase masterwork. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if the numbers were relatively comparable to what people who play
Where
Bounty
20
Hunters.
people
Like,
would
it doesn't
20
mean
people
that
would
we
do
should
master
drop.
skilling.
It doesn't mean that we. No, I'm talking about masterwork smithing specifically. It doesn't mean that we should drop masterwork smith items in PVM. You know, like that's basically what you're trying to sell there. Is like, well, this content, there's people who don't like doing it, so we should just add it to other areas. And I do not support that. Like stuff should come from
But as those
specific things.
as those PvPers die off because they're fighting the same people and they've boosted everything that they can, and in 12 months' time, when that base of 40 or 50 people drops to 5 or 10 people, and then that stuff is not coming into the game, so everyone, no one has a chance to get it unless you go in there and boost it. You're not playing the game properly anyway.
That's my main concern, really. Like if we were to boil everything else down and just get rid of all of the other complaints, my concern is if you truly want these rewards, it doesn't seem like the people who actually want the rewards are the people who are willing to play the game correctly. And if anything, if we are to keep the system in place, there needs to be, and I don't know if it's possible, but they need to be able to deal with the fact that people are basically cheating the game to get these weapons.
I will still very much argue that they need to make it officially against the rules to trade kills. It would deter quite a few people.
It might, but it won't
have
stop
even less people going out there then.
I think that's a good thing, though, if we have less people going out there, because it would root out the people who are not playing the game correctly. We don't need them there anyway.
I also think that it's impossible to tell how many people are actually trading kills because
and that's exactly why you can't make it against the rules, though.
No, I don't agree with that because you can make like abuses against the rules, but it's not necessarily easy to track things like that. Like the rules that are easy to break doesn't mean there shouldn't be a rule about it. My point is that like even in the first week, like there were conflicting reports where basically the story on Reddit was, oh yeah, everybody's trading kills, but then you talk to people who actually went and did it, and they're like, most of the people I ran into were actually trying to kill each other legitimately. So I think there's also this perceived, things are worse off than what they actually are potentially as far as how many kills get traded.
I mean, for sure, I can't say either because I personally don't participate in the community, so I can only go off of what I'm hearing from other people for sure.
But you also looked at once they sort of fix those initial issues that were all a problem at the start. Once they fix those and stop people out doing that, they lost 3/4 of the players who were out there doing it. Once they couldn't no longer cheat the system, 3/4 of the player base disappeared.
It didn't drop off like that. It was a slow thing over time, just like any update that comes out. It had a slow drop off of players as it was
within a week. It was a fairly
update.
fairly quick disappearance of players off there.
We got 2 more questions here that I also want to get opinions on,
Yep.
and then the actual results. And we're running out of time, so I want to make sure we do squeeze these in here. So hang on. What should happen to the wilderness? Nothing. Leave it alone. Leave it as is. Jagex should add more reasons and content for people to be there, and more reasons for people to PK and encourage more risks. The wilderness should be turned into a non-PvP area, but should be made dangerous, a dangerous place to skill or PVM, with environmental hazards, bandits, revenants, etc., high risk, high reward. Or the wilderness should be scrapped and deleted from the game, and its content moved elsewhere. So again, I think that
number 3 on that, the wilderness should be turned into a non-PvP area, but made into a dangerous area to skill.
I would prefer that
idea.
I would prefer it personally, but
I prefer that idea too, Pern.
But I also feel like the wilderness has always basically, I mean, from the very introduction of the wilderness, it was meant to be a PvP PKing area.
But it wasn't always that way.
Yeah, you're right. They made a
the
very
worst
bad
update
decision.
of the game. It made it a non-PvP area. Whatever. We should go back to that. We should just remove free trade while we're at it.
Yeah, I mean,
we're not saying it's funny. Trade. We're talking about bringing life back to the wilderness area.
The wilderness has plenty of life in it, though.
I mean, I remember those heat maps that they showed us of like day 1 in the wilderness and how many people were there. It was a glorious thing to see.
Let's see that same heat map for a 24-hour period today, though.
I agree with Darman, who says if you can't oversee it and stop it and put a rule out saying you can't trade kills, then what's the point? It's like, you can make it against the rules, but if you can't enforce it, people are going to abuse it anyway. And that's my issue with just saying it's against the rules.
Literally,
there
any
needs to be
rule ever.
physical mechanics stopping it. Yeah, I agree, it is. And that's exactly why I have the same opinion on laws in real life. Don't make stupid shit illegal. It's just like, if you can't enforce it, don't bother saying it. Because okay, you're gonna get about 10% of people who are just afraid of doing anything wrong who are gonna drop off. But if even after a while, right, once basically the community sees that your law has no teeth, then they're gonna begin ignoring your law.
I mean, it's not. It's you monitor chat. You can do things like that have automated systems check for people who are trading kills.
Automated systems have worked so well in the past for Jagex, haven't they?
Yeah, I think BotWatch has done an amazing job.
Talking about like auto chat mute
than ever before.
I mean, I don't disagree that it's better off than ever before, but how many manual checks go in to BotWatch? I mean, there is a significant amount of back-end work that is still done. So, and when you ban someone, you got to be 100% on it. And those automated systems create a ton of overhead for appeals. You know, it's like, you can easily say we have a 100% bot watch system, but it's like when you get into the gray areas like gold farming and whatnot, actual investigations have to be done. Otherwise, you know, you got lit up would still be banned today. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. But, again, not the main topic here is how Jagex should enforce, but rather what should be done about the wilderness specifically. So, I mean, and obviously we have some very differing opinions here, and that's fine. We have very differing ways of playing the game. But I agree that the wilderness probably should not be changed or removed, but should be improved upon. And again, I don't know if it's going to help, but... and I don't know who you ask at this point, because I thought Jagex specifically said that they, you know, had PKers and whatnot help them design these systems, but perhaps I'm completely misunderstood about that, because I've also heard the opposite of that, where people saying they should have asked PKers more. So it just always seems like it depends who you ask, really. But finally,
Bounty Hunter specifically seems like the problems with it were already known if they were paying attention. Like old school RuneScape Bounty Hunter system has the exact same issue that RS3's had on launch, and
basically
for some reason Jagex completely missed that.
So finally here, what should happen to the duel arena, dueling, and staking? So nothing, abandon it, or leave it alone. Jagex should attempt to fix bugs, scamming, and interfaces, etc., or scrap it, delete it from the world. So again, that's for dueling and staking.
Yeah, they should fix the bugs and the people that abuse it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
That's
see
what
that
I
you see
voted
that on
for
some
there.
of the main worlds that they do with the I think it's called the boxing
Sure.
abuse, whatever they call it.
Wouldn't consider boxing abuse. I would just consider it gambling.
Yeah, but the way it's done is just like some sort of scam kind of deal.
It can be. It sure can be.
It
if
definitely is.
Again, it can be if someone is scamming you. It's generally based off of chance, but if you're doing like double downs and bullshit like that, where you're betting on other people, it can surely be a scam. Yeah.
Staking specifically is something that I personally have a problem with, just because it is gambling brought into the game. I mean, not that Treasure Hunter isn't the same thing. So I mean, I feel kind of super gross about that specifically, but you know, I think the Duel Arena and also Duel Anywhere in and of themselves are good things. And I guess the Duel Arena would be dead content if nobody staked.
Yeah, I like Zenel's comment though. If nobody is trying to scam you at the Duel Arena, you've already been scammed. And that's the sad problem with the Duel Arena these days. I mean, maybe a rework on the interface could help with that, but I mean,
Haven't people done that recently?
People have. I think you're right about that. Yeah,
They did that last year, I believe.
People, I believe, have the right to fight each other. I mean, gambling is a whole other issue, but I don't think that we should remove staking from the game, despite the fact that I don't particularly like gambling. If you stake correctly, staking is a skill-based activity. If you stake purely based off of a winner with no stats equipped, then it becomes a whole other arena where you are technically sort of gambling. But
yeah, I don't think anybody skill-based stakes. I mean, very few people. Like, staking is both have the exact same stats and the exact same weapon, and then we just auto-click and see what happens. Or auto-attack, I mean.
So anyway,
I also like Elite Power, what he says there about the Wildy updates.
What did he say? You want to read
He
it
says, yeah, Elite Power says, you shouldn't ask PKs on Wildy updates. These people are already there. You need to ask the DXs and people who don't go into the wilderness much why they are staring at it and what they could do to get them in.
See, I feel like that's what they did though with Bounty Hunter, and that's why none of the PKers want it because it's like it didn't. It wasn't geared towards their playstyle or some crap. I don't know.
Things like the farming patch out there, the hunter area out there. I think sort of increasing those type of things would liven up wilderness more.
And I think it already has. Like, I mean, that's
it
that's
has.
my
That's what I
argument.
mean.
Like, there are so many
I
people
totally
out
agree.
there.
The wilderness task set was a great introduction,
Yeah.
like a way to help get people into the wilderness. It got me in the wilderness.
And that's it.
Yeah.
But that's what we're saying. We're more of that type of stuff to drag more people out on different things.
As we said on previous shows, I think the way you could most motivate people who don't want to go into the wilderness to go in is to remove the drop all your items on death thing and make it so that it's a flat fee you pay, much like buying the hell you want, but pay for it.
That would be a preferred system for me personally.
Me too.
I think it would be for everybody. I think it's proven that like losing your stuff on death is just it's a mechanic that people hate. Like it demotivates you from playing when it happens, and it's beyond frustrating, and you risk less. Like I would not be doing super high level PVM if I had to run back to my gravestone every time I died, because it's way too much stress for me to want to handle in a video game where I'm supposed to be having fun.
Yeah, I agree. And some people like that stuff as well, but I agree. I don't want to be stressed out over stuff like that on occasion. So anyway, back to deathmatch here and whatnot. This is the result of the polls here, or at least, how many people have answered it so far, from what I can see here. So this poll is still an incredibly small amount of people have answered so far, right? So it's hard to take this too seriously, but it seems as though this is the problem, is we get this small community here who has the vocal point, and then they just get their ideas taken as what the majority of the community has to say, when in fact the majority may be very different and may be very skewed in many different directions. It may be a lot closer than people are saying, is what I'm trying to say here. But anyway, this is a sample size of about 80 people, so not even 100 people, but what should be done with deathmatch? Right now, 50% of people who answered say delete it from the game and introduce its rewards elsewhere. And again, small sample size, but these are the type of people that come to Reddit specifically, so keep that in mind as well. So, small sample from Reddit saying 50% is basically saying get rid of it, 35% are saying abandon it, and 13% or 14% are saying try to fix it. Why is the number so low on trying to fix it? Why are people so disillusioned with PvP and PKing in general? Why not try to fix it? Is what I want to know. I mean, I've already given my reasoning behind it. And my reasoning isn't don't fix it, just don't fix it right now. You've given it a try. It's got to be put on the back burner for a while. It's got to be put on cooldown. Try again in, 2019 with PvP.
I just think the player base has moved away from that type of stuff.
That's also possible, but may that be possible because there has been no options for so long that they've moved away from it out of choice, and now that they've brought it back, well, they've garnered a whole different audience now that all those PvPers are gone.
Exactly. I think this is an update that will take time to actually build in popularity. Like, this is something that, players who are coming back or players who are new to the game may be interested in. This is a community that needs to be completely rebuilt in many ways.
And it's up to Jagex to provide the mechanics, but it's also up to the player base as well to host events and whatnot and participate. Question number 2, what should happen to Bounty Hunter in particular here? Again, 63% saying delete it, 24 or 25% saying just abandon it, and 13% saying they should try to fix it. Again, very little love for trying to do anything with the system.
I was one of the people that said Jagex should try to at least rebalance it or fix it. Because I tell you what, just now while you guys were talking about that, I was in the Bounty Hunter world, the EOC world. I walked from the middle of where Edgebill is. I walked the middle path all the way up to the end, to the far end of the wildy, and it didn't get attacked once. I didn't even have. I joined the queue, but I had no target.
Well,
all
yeah,
the way.
I feel like most of the PK that's going on in that world is 1v1. You're not gonna find it's not worth killing random people in Bounty Hunter. It's designed to not be that way.
Yeah, he never received a target. I think it was his complaint.
I never received a target.
Real quick, I do want to grab Crew Chief's statement here because I think it is a very valid one, at least probably more so than other ones here. It says, I think PVM and skilling is just more fun in general. It's fun getting a sweet loot drop or earning X million an hour. It's not fun losing all your items with nothing to show for it. And so Harley, back to your point there, is like if items weren't lost on death anymore and instead it was like a flat fee you paid to your defeater, if you will, then I think PvP might be a lot more well received. I think you bring up a really valuable point. Stop dropping items. Go ahead.
Yep, I think that would honestly be one of the biggest things you could do to help PvP in general in this game, is to stop dropping items. I think it would increase. I mean, you and Pern have already said that you would probably, wear more armor into the wilderness, and therefore, it would be more encouraged to actually engage in fights.
It would be interesting. Every time I go to a firing ring, I'd be ready for a freaking battle at the end of it. That would make things a lot more interesting, especially knowing that the worst case scenario, I'm just gonna, lose maybe a few K or a few 100K at worst.
And they could do something too where it's like, you can use stuff, herbs, or like, stuff you gather in the wilderness is still drops. So like you herbs drop, ore drops, divination energy drops.
It's just your worn gear no longer drops. Okay? Yeah, that's the most important thing.
Or gear too, I would say.
You could have sort of different price points on it as well. So if you're wearing tier 90, that's worth, you're going to drop 500k. But if you're wearing T70 item, you're going to lose 100k, or, have it as like tiered for the quality of whatever you're wearing is. So obviously, if you do risk going out there in T90, you are going to lose more money, essentially, but at least you're not going to be the same as wearing T90 as someone who's wearing T50, and you lose the same amount of money.
You'd also have the motivation too, where like you'd want to be wearing T90 because if you have the demonic skull, in my opinion, it would still work the exact same way, where it's a drop on death all the time item. So therefore, you're risking more by wearing T90, but you're also defending yourself better and possibly saving yourself the 500k drop from the demonic skull.
Hell yeah. I'm just trying to gauge time. We have about 4 minutes left, unless I can cancel my. I'm trying to debate here. It's not snowing outside.
It's 3:30.
Yeah, it's not snowing outside. But
my sister's wedding tomorrow, so I'll have to get off in a sec.
Yeah, I do have to kind of end the show. That's why I was pausing there real quick, trying to figure out what I should be doing here.
Yeah,
if I should
my niece's birthday tomorrow as well, so.
Wrapping the show up or not here, but yeah, things like drop. I love the idea of like items are dropped, like especially like the demonic skull, obviously, or even the demonic skull again had its own mechanics where you have the demonic skull equipped. You're risking, like that's how you add that level of risk to your item drops or something. Like that would make me think twice about wearing the demonic skull for sure. Like, although, it's like, do I want 300% runecrafting XP and risk dropping my runecrafting gear and whatnot? Like, that would be a real risk reward in my opinion, opposed to what we have right now. Wouldn't you just pay your death cost to your killer instead of death? Yes, pretty much. That's how I would like to see that happen. Yeah.
That's basically exactly what it would be, and I think honestly it would make. I would argue that it would make PKing in general more profitable because it would be. It would mean, sure, you wouldn't maybe get that one lucky target where you're going to get a Nox drop. And it would also, here's another thing, skull tricking would no longer be a thing because sculling wouldn't be a thing. And imagine not having that bug come up once every 2 weeks.
Right? Happy birthday, by the way, to Crew Chief. But yeah, skull tricking, CPK would be right out the window with that garbage. That would be great. Let's see here. I'm going to move along. We had a couple Twitter posts here, unless anyone wants to say anything else here, but we are dangerously low on time from my understanding. So I'm going to try to just finish out a few more of these topics here if we can. including the first post here by Mod Timbo, who says, thanks to everyone. And he says, the projects I'm working on right now include increasing the value of seeds, upping ghostly essence drops, and removing resources from PVM. That is his current job right there. Increasing the value of seeds, upping ghostly essence drops to make the ectoplasmider more useful, and, of course, removing resources from PVM, meaning skilling drops, I assume.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was thinking along the lines, maybe it's removing resources like drops, certain drops now.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
Ghostly Essence is like up like 300% over what it was 6 months ago or something like that. It's astounding how freaking expensive that crap has gotten, and I don't really understand why.
Because it's great at when you're fighting down at what's his name, Krill. It's great.
Yeah,
down
but
there,
it's always been
things
great
like
there.
that.
It's strange to me that it shot up so much. It's not strange
because
to me that
there's
it's useful.
very little coming in because of who it's dropped from.
Yeah, but why would that? Why would that? In you know, I know that they re-released ectoplasmators for the Halloween event, so I think that's maybe a small part of it. But even before the Halloween event, it was going up. Like, it's always been a limited drop.
I got my ectoplasmider from aberrant specters. Totally
Same.
by luck.
Yep.
Didn't even know it existed in the game. When it dropped, I was like, what is this?
Yep.
I got mine years ago.
Yeah, me too. I got mine back when I was doing 99 Slayer. And when it dropped, I was like, what? What is an ectoplasm? I thought I like unlocked some secret item for a second. And I looked it up and I was like, oh, I'll never use this.
I remember being in the clan. I'm like, oh my god, the ectoplasmator! I just got it, and it's super cool. And everybody's like, oh yeah, I know about that. Yeah, apparently.
I suffered the same thing back in like 2012, 2013. Let's see here. What we got? Mod Ryan also saying that he has moved all lucky items into Django to save some bank space. So if you have any lucky items you're no longer using or have in storage, destroy them because they're going to Django. So free up some bank space for you right there. So there you go. That's some good stuff.
Also means you won't lose. I think before this update, you would have lost them if you died in the wildy permanently.
No. It says if lost on death, you must win them again, unless you just buy the legit ones from the Grand Exchange.
Oh, so that it's only if you destroy it. Yeah, interesting.
Yep, it's just to save bank space.
Yep.
So it's good to know
I bet you there's gonna be a bug there. I would not
you
be
know
shocked.
it. I'll be waiting for it.
Where's QA?
We'll be here.
And that's what I found out about. You were right about the farmer's outfit. If you died in the wilderness with that, you lost it all completely.
Was that the case? Was that the real case? Oh,
Yep.
I'm so glad I'm paranoid.
Yeah.
Did that happen or something? Because you sound all melancholy.
No, not to me. No, I had it confirmed by one of the.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, that's really
the
that's
farmer's
really good
outfit
to know.
from Treasure Hunters specifically, or like the one that
any of the outfits that you earn on Treasure Hunter, like your farming outfit or your rune crafting outfit, any of those.
I died in the wilderness with my rune crafting outfit yesterday and didn't lose it, so I don't.
How many items did you have? The mods told me that those Treasure Hunter ones are lost on death in the wilderness. They're not kept on death.
I don't remember how many items I had, but I died and got them back. I do remember that for sure because Mage and I were talking about this, so I think they are mistaken.
I'm still going to be paranoid and not take them in. Anyway, I'm going to skip our last two topics since they're not really necessary, and we are right at 11. We're a little after 11:30, so I want to make sure I still ready and whatnot here. So we are going to cut the show off here, but it has been an awesome ride for sure. And again, I am still looking to do an elite show like ASAP. So any of our co-hosts are around or listening to this and want to do an elite show either today or tomorrow, let me know. Anyway, besides that, I think that's gonna pretty much wrap this show up. Any final thoughts or announcements that need to get across to the audience, or are we good to go?
Mod Sean, he's still got a schedule to do the patch teasers tonight at about 1900 UTC, I believe.
Very good, very good. All right. So looking forward to that, and also looking forward to more RuneScape Weekly coming up next week. Anyway, that's going to do it for this show. So in the meantime, you can find us on social media. We got a Facebook page for you, facebook.com/RSWeekly. Got a Twitter for you as well, @RSWeekly. You can also join us on Discord at discord.runeweek.com. You can go there, join us. The conversation never ends. And we play lots of other games too, so feel free to hang out with us there. If you can, please take the time to rate us and review us in iTunes or whatever podcast aggregator you use to obtain the show. If you're watching or listening to this on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe. Leave a comment too if you can. We love getting interactive with our audience, but a like and a subscribe definitely helps us out there as well. We got an in-game way to chat as well. You can join us in our clan chat. Clan chat, kill, skill, and chill. That's kill, skill, the letter N, chill, or clan.runeweek.com. You can join us in-game. Our guesting is on, so feel free to pop in and just hang out. If you don't want to actually join the clan, you can just guest in it and talk to us if you like as well. And if you really like us and want to help us out, we do have a Patreon page available for you at patreon.com/RuneScape. You can go there, get past seasons of the RuneScape Weekly Elite Show, as well as all future new content. That starts at only $3 a month, so if you like what you're hearing here and you want to get more on a regular basis, patreon.com/RuneScape is how you can support the show and get more content there. Any and all pledges help us greatly. You can also do a one-time donation via our PayPal, paypal.me/RSW. That's paypal.me/RSW. All current one-time donations are going towards our XSplit license, so thank you very much for that. We have a shop available for you as well. You can spend your Magebucks at shop.runeweek.com. You want past seasons of RuneScape Weekly, pre-2013, or maybe you want to commission a video or a live stream, or maybe you even want to use some of your Magebucks to change whatever is happening on one of our skilling live streams or whatnot. You can go to shop.runeweek.com, use your Magebucks on all sorts of different things there. And of course, you can use real cash as well, but why bother when you get some sweet-ass Magebucks every time you listen to a show? Today's Magebucks code is DFGT, by the way, if you're looking to get 1,000 Magebucks to start yourself off right there or add to your collection. Finally, you can go to upgrades.runeweek.com if you would like to support our upgrade endeavor. We are revamping the studio in March, so any and all upgrade help is greatly appreciated because it's an expensive endeavor, but we are, launching a lot of new stuff in March, and we are going to be needing some new production equipment, so you can check it out there. Big and small, all different stuff, all on our Amazon wishlist at upgrades.runeweek.com. And finally, a big special thanks to our top Patreon supporters, including Molly RS, Swagatorix, Alex W, Danny H, Kevin H, Odin, Old Gunner, Hamster King, Sudwood, Godly Fury, and a big special thank you to the upgrades who have sent us upgrades so far, including Colton, Plague Dog, and Death Star. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. I'm planning to force Mage to do no evil. You can totally do that with Magebucks. Feel free. You will have to pay for the stream one specifically, not active. You can't go and change the activity to a quest, but you can commission a live stream for said quest. So feel free to do that. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this episode of RuneScape Weekly. I'll probably be back, whether or not on the free side of things, for just a regular chill stream at some point, either tonight or tomorrow. Trying to get in the habit of doing more of those in February. So and going forth now. So hopefully I'll see you all around for that later. But that's going to do it for this episode of RuneScape Weekly. Thank you for coming out live, especially, and of course everyone listening after the fact, thank you as well. So that's going to do it. As always, happy scaping.